Wings, report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by.
Red 3 standing by.
Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
Welcome to the most embarrassing show I will ever do. Are you ready to get milked? No! I'm sorry, I had to, I couldn't wait. You're getting milked today. Welcome to the Morning Glory Milking Farm in beautiful downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. The Rational Male. We're going beast mode, full beast mode. I have Commander Kyle in the command center today. Have I got a show for you? Ferb, I know what we're going to do today. Oh, God. What are these called? These are defines, right?
Yeah.
That's the name of these? These are defines. Okay, kill that. Okay.
Something's wrong with those pants. Did you stuff them?
No, these are my new
Stuff
Polaris
them.
that you swoop and you scoop.
Look at
that.
Are they normal or?
No, so they have a glue band underneath that lifts your glutes all the way up. Insane tummy control. Plus they have good pockets.
Oh my gosh, is that the only type or?
No, they have different colors and cuts. I have the one that flares right at your legs.
Oh my gosh, if they're on sale, I'll get you a pair.
Really? Okay, well, I'm going to leave the link right down below for you.
The only reason I picked that up is because everybody on Twitter is like, is this appropriate?
Gen Z women are trying to date millennial men because they missed the red pill manosphere stuff. So millennial men are like more normal than Gen Z men.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like if you do polling, generally
What is normal?
speaking, young men are as conservative as about 70-year-old men.
Really?
And as a young woman, you might not even be, a leftist or an anti-capitalist. You might just believe that you should have the right to vote. It's really difficult for those women to date. Like, luckily, I'm in a very happy relationship, but I feel like it's like the last helicopter out.
Hello. I'm in a very happy relationship.
No, I'm like,
Right,
that's what it feels like.
You go outside.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. All right. So that's the shot. Here's the chaser.
Average woman in her early 20s is just 50-year-old guys who are testosterone.
Yes.
No way.
It's
Like
a statistic.
it may be
Girls my
normalized
age
a lot.
are older
Way.
guys now these days.
Older, yes. But where the fuck is a girl who's 21 even going to meet a 50-year-old?
Laughs in Michael Sartain.
Average 21-year-old might be like
Whole
a little
Foods.
older than her, but even like a 30-year-old has got to be such a tiny percentage of the people who are 21-year-olds.
Yeah, we really need to get Adam 22 on the show at some
The
point.
average 21-year-old is not on like Fresh and Fit or getting flown out to people's yachts in Miami. People
Yeah,
have sex
who's
with
doing
people who
that?
are like, what,
I
you
don't
just
know.
started older guys like as soon as you were able to?
That's a yes.
I don't know.
All right. Speaking of 50-year-old,
Dating over 50, if a guy says any of these three things to you in the beginning stages of dating, run away as soon as possible
I don't think you have the luxury of running away.
because this means trouble. I have actually had a guy say all three of these things to me, the same guy. I've been dating for 2 years. So trust me, I know this from experience.
She's like the final form of Coco Butte.
So number one, if they say that their ex was crazy, that's a huge red flag. Okay, definitely. That just shows that they don't really have a lot of emotional intelligence or emotional availability to own
That's a cop-out. We already know that emotional intelligence is complete bullshit.
their side of the street. Number two, if they say, oh my gosh, I think you're too good for me, that's basically code for them saying, I'm going
I have low self-esteem and I am a beta male.
to hurt you in the future, and I don't think I can live up to your expectations. And number three,
Okay, she's correct about number two. Don't do that.
if they say something like, I'm not really looking for a commitment, or I'm not ready to put a label on it,
You're 50 years old and I want to fuck young hotties, but she'll do for now.
like that just means obviously what they say, they're not ready to make a commitment. So if that's something that you want,
You're 50. Really, you're in no position to be bargaining here.
then definitely don't settle. That's something that I wanted. I did want a long-term relationship. So when I heard this guy say that, I knew that our values didn't align and we weren't looking for the same thing. So
Okay, one of the things that gets me right now, actually put me back on. Put me on real quick. There we go. I have to stop the show right here for just really quickly, because one of the things I'm going to talk about in this show is values. Okay. Here we have values. Bookmark this. Put it here. Like, put one of these. See these little things? Put one of these little thingies right here. Okay. Put one of those little sticky notes there. Values. Gentlemen, no one is looking up at clubs going, I wonder what her values. No man has ever valued a woman into bed. Ladies, cut the shit. Okay, go back.
I walked away. So anyways, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if a guy has ever said any of those things to you and what you did about it. This is my outfit of the night.
Okay, here we go. And here's the real reason for this video.
I'm actually going on a date, and y'all, this is the absolute best little black dress I have ever found. The ruching is absolutely incredible.
Almost makes you think she isn't in menopause.
It is so flattering and slimming, and it's under $100. So y'all, wish me luck. Hope you have a fabulous night. Bye-bye.
Okay, but now here's her final form right here.
And 74, divorced, and still thinking of a past love. Do you ever think of a past love even though you don't want him anymore? I do. Over 25 years ago, I was so completely in love with a man. It was like the most intense relationship I've ever had, and also the worst. He could be warm one minute and a cruel bully the next, and I always walked on eggshells, never sure if I'd say or do the wrong thing, and he would explode like ballistic level. But wow, I sure love that man. He could make me laugh like no other. Absolutely so funny and witty. And this is, of course, between all the tears. He's the one who ended it and broke my heart. It absolutely crushed me for years, well over a decade or more.
Remember, okay, Rose. You are correct. We'll talk about Titanic today, too. Yes. Remember, 74 years old.
The strange part is we're still friends. He's happily married now, and I'm happily being single.
They're still friends, still talking at 74 years old. Okay. Let that sink in a little bit there, children.
And when I see him, my heart still skips a beat. Sometimes after running.
Okay. 5 minutes of alpha trumps 5 years of beta. Got it?
Into him and talking, I might have a dream about him. What's with that? And why, after all these years, does he still cross?
Having a dream about the dude at 74 years old. Tell me again what I ought to be doing at 57.
It's my mind. Please. Why do I sometimes still pine over him? Well, maybe it's because he's the one who left. Or maybe I'm still holding on to the idea of what could have been. But if I'm honest, what could have been probably would have been awful. Still, some people.
And she would have still loved every fucking minute of it.
We'll just leave a mark you can never quite wash away. I think I need to go to the store and buy a new detergent.
Really happy because she has everything. Look at her with Mike. They have chemistry, they're in a romance, they keep each other company, and they laugh like crazy together. The thing with Mike, though, is that he doesn't know how to be serious. But that's not really a problem, because whenever Emma wants to talk about something deep or philosophical, she goes to Alex instead.
Who's talking about deep and philosophical?
Alex is incredibly smart, loves coffee, loves talking, and loves debating. And their conversations, they're on another level, deep, engaging, and full of meaning. The thing with Alex, though, is that he doesn't like to move around much. But that's not really a problem either. Because when Emma wants to go hiking, she's got Sarah and her dog, and they head out to the mountains for the whole day. And you have no idea how much fun they have. You know Emma's secret to being so happy? She
bisexuality.
Never expects anything from a chicken other than eggs. She never asks an apple tree for anything other than apples and shade. She only expects milk from a cow and love from a dog. And look at that. What a wonderful way to live. Emma's friends always want to make her happy and give her what she asks for.
Because she is the fucking main fucking character in her world.
Because she only asks for what they can actually give. Poor Jessica, though. She's miserable. The only person she has in her life is her boyfriend. And her boyfriend? He adores her and would love to give her everything she wants, but the guy isn't a Swiss Army knife and he's definitely not a genie in a lamp. But Jessica wants him to be her personal ATM, her therapist who listens patiently, her passionate romantic, and great in bed. But at the same time, she also wants him to be the guy with no obligations, free to tag along to all her social and family events. She likes that he's protective, but she also wishes he were more sensitive. She wants to get everything she needs from just one person. And the problem is, no one person can give you everything you need. Some people are generous with money but stingy with their time. Others will give you their whole afternoon but can't keep a secret. Some are always late, but they have infinite patience.
And some are fat and good listeners, and some are hot and you want to fuck them.
You're going to save yourself a lot of frustration and be so much happier when, like Emma, you learn to ask people for what they can actually give and stop expecting things they simply can't.
Ah, see? Now, before we move on to the next little videos here, I have to point out there's a reason I dropped this one in particular, is because the red pill is like fire, as I've said before, okay? You can use it to heat your home and, or cook your food, or you can use it to, I don't know, set your neighbor on fire, set you on fire, set your house on fire, or whatever else. It's all in the how you use that particular information, right? The other thing is this, is the red pill is not, it doesn't exist so you will hate women. It exists so you won't hate women for what they can never be to you. Not unlike Emma in the center of this whole thing.
Forgive and move forward after my wife and one of my best friends had over a year-long affair behind my back. And the second part of that is it even possible for me?
Great thing about this is that now that I forget this dude's name, is it John, what's his name? John something or other. Anyways, after seeing him at TPUSA and after seeing him in his like sort of his religious capacity and everything else, it's like, it's so funny to me because he's like a deer in a headlight whenever he gets like real world problems calling in.
Me to move forward.
Tell me about it.
Last August, I got on her laptop
that's right,
and found that she had been on a paternity test website. Our daughter just turned 1, and questioned her about it and ended up finding out it was one of my best friends who was also my boss.
Whoa!
He was in our wedding. I left my previous job for him.
What do you do?
Jesus, how you like that? I left my previous job so you could bang my wife and impregnate her.
I'm a firefighter.
Does that guy still have his job?
Let's just
okay. Here's where John Delaney completely falls off like the wheels come off right here.
say he left.
Good.
After that,
the research is pretty clear that somebody that lacks that type of integrity at home also lacks that type of integrity at work.
You know who else is lacking integrity at home? Your fucking wife, bro. like way to turn it around, man. Way to fucking turn it around.
And you're a firefighter. I don't want a piece of crap like that out making sure my community is safe, because that.
And I don't want a piece of crap like that living in my house either.
That sucker's going to cut corners.
Yeah, she's definitely cutting corners. Yes.
And some innocent bystander's going to die.
Yeah, like him.
Found out that women's testosterone peaks at the peak of our ovulation. So the highest our testosterone ever is at the top of our ovulation.
Who else has said something like this? God, it just skips my mind right now. Somebody said something about ovulatory shift back in 2007. His name is just escapes me.
And we are ready to go when the guys are looking delicious. You know what I mean? Men feel that 24/7, but times 10.
Actually, times 17.
That's why they are the way that they are. I'm not saying that means they should be able to cheat and whatever. We are emotional creatures.
What's funny is like nobody says this bitch is a misogynist for saying this. But if I say the same thing for, 20 years, yeah, fuck that guy.
Doesn't give us the right to be emotionally unstable. Some of us need to work on that. Just saying.
I lost the guy that I loved and cared about to red pill content.
God damn you for giving me this
Before
one.
he started watching this content, he was a sweet, nice man who treated me well and was charismatic, funny. And the moment he started watching this content, he completely changed. He started calling women bitches, whores, skanks. He became very, very angry almost all the time. And then eventually he ended things with me because he thought I was using him for money. Now, granted, there was one time where I did make a joke about how I wanted an old guy to take care of me, and I quickly regretted it and said I was sorry. But I still cared about him. I would drive 30 minutes every day to see him. Like, it wasn't just about the money. Because he's watching all this content, he thinks that all these women are trying to use him and all that stuff. And so he had a loving girl that cared about him and loved him and, like, would stick by his side through anything. And then he eventually said this to me. And this was the final straw. Now, when I first started talking to him, not that it mattered, but he was over 270 pounds when I started talking to him. I did not care about his size. He then lost weight and then started fat shaming everyone around him.
Tell these
And
bitches
today, actually, he said this to me. He called me a broke skank and then said that I would ease back on the food. Your stomach's getting a little big. And I've never, my whole life, had a man speak to me like that. And here I was the week before, going out, and I was gonna go buy him a present for his birthday. And for him to turn around and call the girl that cared about him and loved him a skank and fat, when he's like one of the only guys that I've been with. In the beginning, it was totally opposite. He would compliment me, tell me how pretty I was, and laugh and make jokes, and like, just this content, it just ruined him. And then I went on his page before we unfollowed each other, and I saw he was reposting like Andrew Tate and like David Goggins, and like all of his reposts were that. And then that's how I found out that he was in this red pill rabbit hole, and now I connected the dots.
Great. David Goggins has just joined the red pill. I think David would have a really tough time swallowing that one. All right. Here's this motherfucker. Here's the attention you wanted.
More women are reporting that as their partners watch more red pill content, they start reporting the changes that the men in their relationship are going through. One woman broke up with her man the minute he started watching Fresh and Fit. One of the women in this article.
The minutes, yes. It's like, I am red pill now. I just saw Myron and his face.
Says that her boyfriend fell deep into the red pill stuff, watching Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, MGTOW content. And eventually he ghosted her, and she wondered what the hell's going on. And he said he was using something called Dread Game, which is something in red pill spaces, which means you want to make the woman chase you.
Yeah, but that's actually not it.
And it's more emotional manipulation than it is anything else. It's not.
You mean like kind of the same way women actually hot? You mean kind of like them? Okay. Yeah.
Attractive, if anything. It's the
How would we ever figure something out like as fiendish as this? What could be our model for this behavior?
He doesn't have a relationship anymore. These women are saying things like, I don't recognize the man anymore after he started watching this stuff. There are.
You ever thought maybe that's for the best?
Countless stories of this. I have posted about it before, but what's unfortunate about red pill manosphere content is it's no longer just for the youth. It's no longer just for kids who were locked down in COVID and were just watching YouTube. There are
would you like to know where he stole all of these lines from? We're going to find out today.
Married men who are falling for this. It's insane to me that you would throw your own relationship away because you're following the words of a man who probably isn't in a relationship.
Probably. Good. Nice way to hedge your bet there, bro.
Myron Gaines, Andrew Tate, they are not in.
Who? Just those two guys? Are they the only ones in the manosphere?
Relationships. They don't know how to keep women happy. Thus, they try to make other men unhappy with them.
Who's in the marriage?
Who? Yeah, yeah.
And I've also posted in the past that Canadian lawyers are also seeing a wave of divorces, claiming that the men that they were with started watching red pill content and the relationship went to hell. So.
You know what's interesting to me is like first of all, like I need to get Jim Sexton on here and find out, like, because he would probably be able to tell you what the stats are a little bit better than that. Now, the other thing is you have to remember that for a guy to want to initiate the divorce, shit has to be pretty fucking bad, right? You know, cheaper to keep her. Like it has to be pretty bad to do that. So what is it about the red pill that's going, you know what? I don't care how bad it is. I'm going to go and get a divorce.
So look out for the signs that your man is falling for this. Probably a telltale sign that the relationship is going to end unless you can snap them out of it. There are women in my.
How do you you suggest you do that.
Comments who have said that their partner started watching it after the woman realized that she had a talk with them, and they ended up being able to pull it out. But it becomes something.
What outlet? Interesting choice of words. Okay.
Something where you almost have to deprogram these men once they start going down this path. There are article after article of women who are.
Are you guys in my chat? Are you ready to be deprogrammed? I'm going to deprogram you today.
Finding that red pill is ruining their
Time for a red pill intervention.
relationship, and this is just another example of it.
Oh, and buy my book, The Attraction Handbook. nice slip of that. You know what? I'll give you that. You can, for all that bullshit, the shit I'm about to run you up the flagpole for, you can have that plug. That's no problem. What did you say, Sir Mr. Jason? You got a license for those registered guns in Nevada? Well, anything over 18 is legal. It's open carry. Didn't know you were a gun show this weekend. I would love to go to the gun show. Actually, there's one on November 1st and 2nd. Yeah. Cash and carry, baby. Welcome to Nevada. You don't need jack shit but a fucking $100 bill. Give me that money. Here you go. God bless America. Yeah. That, by the way, if you're ever going to buy a gun, buy it in the state of Nevada and go to a gun show and do cash and carry and bring a lot of cash. Oh, yeah. And cash and carry, still alive and well in the state of Nevada. Otherwise, if you go and you buy it at like, Bass Pro or like Cabela's or some shit like that, you will be going through, well, not very long waiting period, but you still have to register if you buy it commercial. Buy it cash and carry, that shit is yours. I can't even believe that shit's legal, quite honestly. Oh, and by the way, hold on. Moment of silence for our dear departed friend, Mr. Ace Frehley. Passed away. When on Tuesday? Wednesday. Tuesday or Wednesday. And the reason that's why I have the shirt today. I figured I would, of course, I'd probably wear this all the time anyway. No, Ace Frehley was an inspiration. He was an inspiration for me anyways. And he's an inspiration for a lot of people. One of his jokes was like, he said, if I knew I was going to inspire so many new guitarists, I would have practiced more. That was the great thing about Ace, is like he never took himself like too seriously. He was just like, I'm a guitarist. That's all I do. And then like, of course he was an alcoholic too. It's like when he was on that one show on 1979 with the rest of the band, it was like the Tom something show. I can't remember, but like you could tell he was fucked up, and he was just had this infectious laugh that everybody just got behind. Dude was great, man. Absolutely great. I would not have wanted to be in a band had it not been for Kiss, and I would not have wanted to be a lead guitar player at all had it not been for Ace Frehley. And I know a lot of people, like even Dimebag Darrell from Pantera, God rest his soul too, was, a huge Ace Frehley fan. And I know a lot of other people who are friends of mine who would probably say the same thing. It's really weird. As I talked to my brother, and I have been really super huge Kiss fans since the time we were like kids. Right. So like, I remember listening to Kiss Alive 2. That was the first live album. I mean, there was other, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, Destroyer during like the mid 70s. That's when they were really peaking, I think. They had some good stuff in the 80s too, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't the same band, right? And I remember when we were kids, we had the Kiss lunch lunch boxes, and we had everyone had like a Kiss mask for like Halloween, the kind that would have the rubber band wrap around your head and stuff like that. And my brother was Gene Simmons. I was always Ace Frehley, and then we had two childhood friends, and they were always like Paul Stanley and Peter Criss, right? And so we were Kiss. Like when you're like 9 years old, 8 years old, and that time, and that shit's going on. That was a big deal back then. You were Kiss. Had everything. Had the action figures. Had everything. So, so it was such a big part of growing up. And I remember listening to Kiss Alive 2, and that was part of the Love Gun / Destroyer. Those are the live cuts from those tours. And that was like, I think probably the best show or the best tour they did was the 77 Love Gun tour. And I'm like, I can probably, if you put that on, I can tell you word for word what Paul Stanley says on the stage. Because, he's messing with people on stage. I could tell you exactly how he introduces each song and all the extras he adds to each song. Because we listened, that was an album. We listened to that on a fucking like vinyl, dude, when we were listening to that shit. And So I was talking to my brother because my brother's a huge Kiss fan. By the way, we're a Kiss family on top of that. So he was like, I brought my wife. Like my wife wants me to go see like, REO Speedwagon and Styx and Journeys, which I like, I guess, well enough. But I'm like, if I'm going to this, you are coming to see Kiss with me. and I took my daughter to her. She went to her first Kiss concert, I think when she was like 17 or 18. And I was working at the casinos up in Reno, and they were playing up there. And I got like the meet and greets. I got everything. It was fucking great, man. And so I was talking to my brother, and my brother goes, "Man," he's like, "I don't know how to feel about this." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Because one of the members of Kiss is dead." And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "I've always told myself that as long as Kiss is around, I'm still alive. But now one of the members of Kiss is gone." I'm like, "Yep." Knocking off like a tiniest little knife, like, oh God. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I feel you, man. He's like, "I'm so glad we got to," because he took his kids too, to go see Kiss. So I'm so glad we took him to see Kiss when we could. I'm like, yep. We have, and I have seen the original lineup 3 times, and then I've seen like when they took the makeup off. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen Kiss live without that. I saw Kiss and Anthrax opened for Kiss. It was in 1988, I think, 88 or 87. They were on the Got the Time tour by that time. But yeah, Anthrax was a huge deal back then. What do you got here, James? James, speak of the devil, and the devil appears. The USA divorce rate is higher than Canada's, both in 2024 and 2025 to date. Oh, thank you, James. Much appreciated. I wanted to find out, James, if you would be so kind as to just chat this in. What do you notice any uptick in divorces, the divorce rate, as a result of quote unquote red pill influence? And by the way, that would have to include men initiating the divorce, because that's what I'm about to read this article, and I'm about to read some of this other stuff here in just a second about this. I want to kind of get into that a bit today, but what did you guys think of what did you all think of today's thumbnail? In case you don't know where that comes from a book cover. That book cover is Morning Glory. You saw it here first on the Rational Mail. Morning Glory Milking Farm. There you go. Well, Rollo, why are you putting Morning Glory Milking Farm on? Why do I care about this? I will show you why you should care about this. Where'd it go? There we go. Ding, 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 ding. More, reduce me a little bit if you can. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Morning Glory Milking Farm, a monster bait romance. Cambric Creek. So this is actually I guess it's produced by, this is a real publish. I can't imagine it was like originally not self-published, but now it is published. Sweet and steamy monster romance. Okay, here we go. You ready for this? Oh my Lord. Violet is a tip. I need the taboo and song of music for this. Oh wait, I have that. Hold on. Let me put this on. You got this. You need the full effect here. Where is it? I've got it in the. Is it in? There it is. Okay, here we go. Violet is a typical down on her luck millennial. Mid-20s, overeducated and drowning in debt. On the verge of moving into her parents' basement when a lifeline appears in the form of a very unconventional job in neighboring Cambric Creek. She has no choice but to grab at it with both hands. Morning Glory Farm offers full-time hours, full benefits, and a generous pay with no experience needed. Here, there's only one catch. The clientele is grade A certified prime beef with the manly meaty endowments to match. Hands-on work with the Minotaurs. I can't believe it just came out of my mouth. Isn't something Violet ever considered as a career option. But she's determined to turn the opportunity into a reversal of fortune. When a stern-voiced client begins to specially request her for his sessions at the farm, maintaining her professionalism and keeping him out of her dreams is easier said than done. Violet is resolved to make a dent in her student loans and afford name brand orange juice and one-sided crush, and on an out of her league Minotaur is not a part of her plan unless her feelings aren't so one-sided after all. Morning Glory is a USA Today best-selling human monster romance novel, 60,000 featuring a high heat slow burn with a lot of heart and guaranteed HEA. And it is the first book in the Cambric Creek Monster Romance series and can be read as a standalone. CWs, I guess that's the CWs are viewable I guess that's samples viewable on the author's website. So there you have the description of Morning Glory Milking Farm. Now, why is that an important thing to... Okay, so as you know, I have a new book out. It's called The Rational Male Reignite, and I have been sort of getting back into looking at logistics and looking at like rankings and looking at algorithms and everything else, because now, you know, self-publishing may as well be podcasting at this stage. Look at this. Bestsellers rank. Number 1, erotic science fiction. Number 1 in fantasy erotica. And number 2 in science fiction erotica. Not to be confused with erotic science fiction. What the difference is, I don't know, but there you go. This is what sells. I mean, look, you can see book 1, book 2. There's 5 of these. 5 of them. I can't even believe that there's 5. But apparently is one like... And I'm the asshole with 6 books in the red pill space. I'm the one responsible for your marriages breaking up and going to hell, right? But Morning Glory Milky Farm, Morning Glory Milky Farm, A-okay. Stamp of approval. Holy shit. Rolo Slam Death Metal fan. Yes, check out Guttural Slug. Abomination Abnormality. That sounds good enough for me to look up, actually. Speaking of musicians, in case I got one kind of minor announcement. Well, maybe it's a major announcement. Sometime in January, hopefully after my successful surgery and I'm not dead, I've got Jake Monroe coming into Las Vegas. Yes, shit. And so we're gonna get together. He is a musician, as you guys already know. And I am too. So there might be a time for us to go. We might go meet up at like Griffin Studios and just go throw a jam and do like a live stream or something. Bullshit down there. That might be a lot of fun. I'll definitely have him in studio. So he's coming. Your favorite goth and mine. Jake Monroe's coming to Vegas. So that'll be in. He told me mid-January. So expect me to make some more announcements later on. But there you go. Yes. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So anyways. Why am I bringing all of this up? Well, the reason why I brought this up is because I was actually going to do the show primarily on this, but I got to the point where I'm like, how far can you really go with monster porn? Apparently a long way. But I was talking to Coral Osborne, your favorite sexologist and mine, and we were getting into quite the conversation about what it is that like women are actually looking for when it comes to, the alpha fucks, beta bucks. And we were talking about the alpha fuck side this time, right? And so I happened to mention the Morning Glory Milking Farm popularity, the craze. And by the way, this isn't the first time I have come into what's known as xenoporn or zooporn, zoology porn, zooloporn. Because there was actually I remember this, I think it was right around my second or third book, one of the most popular books on Amazon at that time was called Come For Me Bigfoot. And it is, and yes, it's spelled exactly the way you think it is. And I forget, there was somebody pointed this out and they sent me to an article about it. And the lady who had written it's, by the way, female authors, right? Female authors writing for a female audience. And yes, it has Bigfoot in the erotica. Okay. And she had made something to the effect of like 35 $1,000 a month, and it was going up to like 50,000. She was just pressing like $50,000 a month just based on sales alone for this. Now, not quite the grandeur of 50 Shades of Grey, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute too. But 50,000, and she said in the article that she felt bad about making that kind of money, but like, if you're going to pay me, right? So apparently this is actually a pretty popular genre. As we've seen, it is the #1 book in science fiction erotica and erotic science fiction, as well as erotic fantasy, right? So there is a reason why this is popular, that women want this. They want the beast. They want the guy who's they want the guy who's going to take control. And before we get into the quote unquote grape fantasy side of things, I think I've done that one to death, but like that does definitely mix into all of this. But I think a lot of it has to. Jesus Christ, this dude again. Did you get him? Okay, thank you. My testosterone is all used up. He's been secretly taking injections. Rolo's testosterone is all used up. He's been secretly taking injections secretly. Would you like to know what I'm injecting? I'll be happy to tell you. It's no secret. Actually, go ask. I gotta give him a plug. Go to Todd Lee MD. That's all you gotta do. And moving on. Secretly. Yeah. So, anyways, there is a big market for this. Clearly, there's a big market for this. Now, remember, maybe I'll just read you this. I wrote this really great book back in, I published it in 2021. It's called The Rational Male Religion. And if you go into The Rational Male Religion, there is a section there, and it's called The Romantic Ideal versus Christian Kosher. Okay. This is in I want to say is it the sex part of the book? I think so. Wait, hold on. It's in chapter 7. Sorry, chapter 7 of that book. In case you have my book and if you'd like to read along with the rest of the class, let me see if I can just put that one. I think I can share this screen. Let's see. This one, that'll do. Here we go. Can we share that? Hot damn, you can. Wow, it'll share Acrobat. Cool. All right, here we go. I wanted to read this to you guys because this is where I talk about 50 Shades of Grey in the book Religion. Now, you might wonder why I'm doing that. Well, I will explain. The Romantic Ideal versus Christian Kosher. In March of 2012, a new super trend for women was hitting the globalizing social marketplace. A hot new book called 50 Shades of Grey had just gone on sale, and women were buying it up based solely on word of mouth. Just 6 weeks later, author E.L. James, probably not her real name, had sold, because who would use their real name to author a book, right? And had sold 10 million copies in 6. Well, that's my fucking wet dream, dudes. 10 million copies in 6 weeks. Like that's the kind of literature that like Amazon waits for. That pays the bills for Amazon. Okay. Self-published, by the way. Self-published. There ain't no in between. It's just her and Amazon and whoever's doing the printing. That's it. By the end of 2012, the book had sold 65 to 70 million units. That's not even a full year, because remember, it came out in March, okay? 65 to 70 million units, almost solely to a female readership. In essence, the story follows the standard romance novel plot formula, but mixed with a lot of the female grape fantasy and the tasteful BDSM sexuality. It was red meat in the right place at the right time for the soccer mom and the young millennial woman demographic. On Valentine's Day, 2015, the much demanded movie adaptation was released. The trailer for the movie reached 36 million views in the week that it released in July of 2014, making it the most viewed movie trailer of the year. Okay, I will read the rest of this because there's more to it than that. But I wanted to point out a couple of things here real fast. This is a self-published book. There's no Simon & Schuster. There's no Penguin. There's no Harlequin Romance. It is just E.L. James, not her real name, posting a book on Amazon, self-publishing the book, and it goes crazy. Why does it go crazy? Because of word of mouth. And have said this before. It's kind of like the Twilight thing, right? I was telling Kyle before the show, I can remember when I was doing the research for this book, and I can remember as far back as say like when was Twilight? 2007, 2008? Forget when Twilight came out, but
Like the book or the movie?
the movie. Well, the books came
I
out
think it's like 2000.
mid 2000s for the books, and probably like 2007, 2008, something like that.
Yeah.
And I can remember how popular it was with like my daughter had a lot of friends back then, like they're 7, 8 years old back then, right? And they wanted to go see Twilight. I'm Team Edward. I'm Team Jacob.
2008.
Right? 2008. Okay. And so I remember when the movie came out, and all of these women, these ladies from church, decided that they wanted to go see it because it was their daughter are into it. We want to do something with our daughter. Like, no, you're into it too, right? And the reason for that is it follows a standard kind of female fantasy plot, which is really the romance novel plot. But we've added vampires and werewolves to this, right? And if you look at what is it, Edward, and then Jacob is the werewolf, right? In the second movie, right? So you got Edward, who's the sexy vampire who lives forever and wants to protect her, and he does all these crazy, he's basically superhuman, right? But he's a vampire, so he's brooding, and she has to basically save him from himself, and so you got that. And then the next movie comes out, and then it's like shirtless Jacob, who, by the way, that kid was like he played Shark Boy and Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I remember that because my daughter used to watch that shit all the time. But now he's all grown up, man. He was like he's in his teenage years at that point, and boy, shirtless Shark Boy. Holy shit! Yeah, you want to cause a stir in the loins of the good Christian ladies auxiliary? There you go. And so there was Team Jacob and Team Edward, and it was funny that there was teams because those are two archetypes. That's alpha fucks and beta bucks. It's obvious, right? So the beta bucks is the protection, provisioning, and parental investment, right? The good dad. Like Edward's the good dad. He's the vampire, but he's the good dad. And he's kind of like the brooding, he's almost an incel, really. I mean, he's kind of this brooding, self-absorbed, I would do anything for you, And one of the things, and I've seen, I remember the Oatmeal? There used to be an animated thing. It was an animated thing called the Oatmeal, and they did this. I should look it up. They have a video on YouTube about the Twilight, how Twilight why it was popular. And the main reason why it was popular is because you never get a description of the main character. Like the girl, who I don't remember her name. You never get any kind of like concrete description, but you get nothing but physical descriptions of the vampire and the werewolf boy, right? But the reason why they just standard romance novel fare, right? You never characterize the main character or put any kind of physical features to her, because that ruins the ability of women to cast themselves into that role. So as long as it's nondescript, she could be anybody. And that's by design. That is a standard romance novel plot. Because if she's some debutante with blonde hair, blue eyes, big tits, she can't relate if she's some frumpy little brunette from, Washington State, right? Or Seattle, and it's raining all the time. I can't relate. So, I can't relate with the dumb bimbo, right? So, so scratch that. But as long as it's ambiguous, you can cast yourself in that. Women can see themselves in that role, right? And the reason why that's successful is because women want to see themselves in that role. They want to see themselves get into that, right? They want to have that sort of escapism, but the escapism still falls into certain parameters and certain dynamics, and that is alpha fucks and beta bucks, right? So Edward he's Superman, basically, and Werewolf Kid is Batman. He's the Maverick. He's hot, and it doesn't matter if he makes a lot of money. He's shirtless peck kid who turns into a wolf and probably fucks like a werewolf too, right? Whereas, Edward's gonna, I love you forever, and I mean that, forever. And so, so you have this sort of fantasy between the two, and that's really what the romance novel plot is based on. It's this conflict between, love me vampire and fuck me werewolf. And I even wrote an essay about this. I think I put this in book 2 or book 3, but I actually have an essay called "Love Me Vampire, Fuck Me Werewolf," and not to put too blunt a point on it, but yeah. So that's a common fantasy, is the sort of the frustration or the dilemma of which one do I choose. You ever hear what was it, Spin Doctor's Two Princes?
Yeah.
It's that same theme, right? You've got the happy-go-lucky poor guy who probably got a big dick, and then you've got the guy who he's well-heeled, he comes from a good family, has a lot of money, takes care of business. He would probably make a really good dad, right? And which one does she go for in the long term? Is, yeah, of course, everybody goes, oh, she's going to go fuck the broke guy with the big dick, right? Which in today's sexual marketplace, you might be right. But remember, romance literature has been around since the mid 1800s, right? You're looking like Emily Bronte and Jane Eyre and Pride and Prejudice, and you look at some of those, like the older ones, which is really where the romance novel plot was derived, or the theme, anyways, the template was derived from, was from those old works. And in case you're wondering how Rollo Tomassi knows the name of Emily Bronte or Jane Eyre or Pride and Prejudice, because I actually took a class called Women in Literature when I was at UNR, because I had to. The reason I had to is because it satisfied a capstone requirement. It satisfied a diversity. I don't know what the fuck a capstone is. A humanities requirement, a diversity requirement, and then an English. Like it covered. Like I knocked out 4 different prerequisites. Otherwise, I would have to take 4 different classes to make all of those make up for all of those. So you've got diversity, you've got humanities, you've got capstone, and you got the English side of things too, right? So the actual like learning side of things, right? So you got those 4. There was only one other class that satisfied those prerequisites. Do you know what it was? Holocaust studies. So essentially what they're saying is that feminism and the plight of men is equitable to the Holocaust. just to let you know where your betters or what your betters are thinking. Let's go back to the screen here again. I want to keep going. 50 Shades of Grey presented the first real moral quandary for Christian women of the 21st century. By 2014, the book had sold 100 million copies and had spawned what was called the mommy porn genre in literary circles. It wasn't just deviant, liberal, sex-positive feminist women buying this softcore porn. Christian women were eating it up too. When the Twilight series of books and movies hit popular culture, Christian women could get behind the fandom like their young daughters, even though it was never truly made Christian kosher, meaning like you couldn't slap a Jesus fish on 50 Shades of Grey. But 50 Shades of Grey was different. It was an overtly sexual story created by a woman for women that went around traditional publishing. It was initially self-published by James to be made available to the masses. Women wanted this story. They wanted this story, and it was impossible for Christian women to deny the global appeal. According to a 2013 Barna survey, which, by the way, I cite all my sources in this book, who identified themselves as Christian, were reading the books at the same rate as the general public. Okay, here's the fun part. Male pastors of the time scrambled to address the phenomenon, claiming it was men's lack of masculine leadership that led to the popularity, and men needed to man up and take more responsibility. Meanwhile, women agonized over finding some moralistic loophole to feel okay about enjoying it. Pastors couldn't blame Christian women for shamelessly consuming the porn, so the narrative that women were being tricked into trying to rescue a broken man, quote unquote, protagonist Christian Grey, there has to be a man to blame. So the fictional character E.L. James invented, and E.L. James, for inventing him, became the target. He's the one to blame, not for not being a real man. Godly real men were supposed to rein in their wives' appetites via biblical headship, but that required calling out women's sin in a way that seemed like condemnation that would make their wives unhappy. A fictional man, a romantic ideal, was to blame, but the real men needed to step up and solve the problem. Real men were to do this not by confronting women's sin and refusing to allow women to deny their refusing to allow women to deny their nature of their temptations. Real men were supposed to do this by treating women better and improving their self-esteem. There you go. That is an excerpt, by the way, from my book, Religion, in case you were wondering where that came from. Let's see. Oh, did I just lock up? Oh, no, I got to close this out. Hang on one second. Are we still? Yeah, we're still on, right? Yeah. I might have to. Oh, there we go. Okay, much better. Let me come back to us. There we are. Okay, cool. Yeah, I had to drop us out. Okay, good. So I wanted to point that out because I felt like that was kind of like along the same lines of what we've been talking about, like with sort of this quote unquote servant leadership and everything we were talking about last week when it came to, so the religious fair. And I thought it was interesting because I kept seeing the same themes repeated, over and over and over again. Now, last Monday, I did an interview, which was live streamed, by the way, on Ask a Brother podcast with Jeffrey St. James. I believe that's his name. And we talked about this for a little bit. So I'm going to give him a shout out and a plug real quick. Go to Ask a Brother podcast. And I was recommended to go on that show, courtesy of Fresh, because he and Fresh are pretty good friends. So of course I'll do it. And it was a really good conversation, but we actually talked about that. And I think he's a little bit more on the religious side of things. Maybe I kind of got that vibe. We didn't really talk about anything like overtly religious, but we did talk about that as far as like the servant leadership stuff and what they like. I think one of the problems that sort of churchy guys have is their only solution to anything is more responsibility. Right. And so we always say, you've heard this a million times, I'm sure, from I know James Sexton has just talked about this not too long ago. Is like when something goes wrong in a relationship, it's always the man's fault, right? So if the woman cheats on you, it's your fault for not being a better leader in the household. I'm looking at this from a Christian perspective, evangelical Protestant, okay, not Orthodox, not Catholic, whatever no true Scotsman, I got it. But from the perspective of blaming men, it's always the convenience is always, well, you aren't masculine enough. It's your burden of performance, right? You're not performing up to speed. You're not performing up to par, because your wife would never have an interest in 50 Shades of Grey if you were better looking and better shape and made more money and were a bigger, better distraction than this fictional character, Christian Grey or whatever the fuck his name is, right? And so why don't you have a BDSM room in your house and put a Jesus fish over it, right? That's the problem is the men in this instance. So like if you cheat, it's your fault. She cheats, it's your fault. If she's got if you have a porn addiction, your fault. If she has a porn addiction, it's your fault. That's basically what we're getting into when it comes to like romance literature and everything else. And I might say, if your wife has a xeno porn addiction and she's happy to suggest everyone to listen to, or is there an audiobook for milking farm? God, I don't know. Who does the read for that? No.
Melting away.
Yes, who does the read for Morning Glory Milk? I guess I could. I just did it. I just read I'm going to get a call from the author. Hey, how'd you like to read Morning Glory? Only if I can use the monster voice out there.
Just kick it up to this.
Welcome to Morning Glory. Milking Farm.
Oh my God. I am the Minotaur. Grab me with both hands. No, not my horns. Oh, but so why I clip that? But so why is it? Well, first of all, I was going to say, I got into it with Coral Osborne about this, because Coral is pretty much confirmed a lot of what I was saying. Is like, women like the danger. They want the roller coaster ride. And by the way, I'm paraphrasing Dal Rock when I say that. Is he has a really great, just to see if I can remember it from memory, is women want a roller coaster, but they don't want it to be actually dangerous. They want to experience danger, and they want to feel the car careening off the highway and going over the cliff, but they want to know that there's people behind the scenes to make everything okay. Men, they want men behind the scenes to make sure that the roller coaster cart doesn't come off the rails. They want to make sure, they want to feel like they're about to be in real danger, but never be in any real danger, right? And so that's, it's the safe word thing, but the point of it is like, there's a reason why they want to feel that danger in the first place, right? There's a reason why they want to have a minotaur, turning around and riding them to glory is erotic. It's something that they want they want to lose control. They want to be dominated, right? And I hate to even say that, because if I go and I say, like, there's your clip right there. If Rollo said that women want to be dominated, well, in the bedroom, sure. Does that mean you're going to be their tyrant leader and everything? Maybe, but the thing is like, there's still that desire. God knows how much research has been done about women sort of like, I hate to even call them grape fantasies, because they're really more like dominance fantasies. And honestly, it's really kind of part of their mental firmware, their evolved mental firmware, to be dominated by a worthy man, a guy who is like 3 times, who is 6 feet. Why do women want guys who are over 6 feet tall? And we'll put that on the filter for what they're looking for on Tinder. Why isn't it 5'9"? You think hey, I want to improve my chances. I want to go for the average guy, right? Why? No. In fact, they will lower, and they will consciously, you tell them, when you do that, you're only like, if you're 6 foot tall, like you're limiting yourself to 16% of the male population in the United States. I don't care. That's what I want. Only that will do, right? Why is like, here's the bonehead question. Why is that the only thing that will do? It's because they're hardwired to want a guy who stands above them and has 18-inch guns, 20-inch guns, to like, he could crush me with his bare hands. Like his hand is like bigger than my face, and his cock is like 12 inches long, and uses it like a pile driver. Right? I'm sorry, I'm going to get graphic. I don't know how much more graphic I can get than Morning Glory from Milking Farm, but I'll give it a shot. Right? There's that aspect of it, and it's visceral, and it's hard, and it's sweaty, and it's animalistic. That's why xenoporn is based on animals, for Christ's sake, right? So whenever you got women who are saying, well, I want a guy who's going to be nice to me and peel me a grape, or whatever the fuck it is. I was going through, one of the reasons why I thought this was an interesting contrast is because I'm going through all of those videos from the Christian lifestyle or whatever it is, which keep coming. I made the mistake. I don't even follow them. It just keeps getting bounced up in my algorithm because I talk about them all the time. But I look at this, and you got these women who are just like talking to these kind of just milquetoast husbands, right? And they're like, the guy's like, well, when we don't play chess, they won't even call it sex. Like, well, when we don't play chess, or when we don't have intimate time together, it makes me feel like I feel really bad, and it makes me feel like you really don't care. And it really, does something. It does a number on my self-esteem, and the very fact that you're having that conversation in the first place, and that woman is just like, if there's a word that's more than cringe, that's what that is, right? That's like, it's like this visceral, like, I gotta get away. It's this uncontrollable desire to like punch the guy in the face, right? Because it's him expressly, overtly communicating that he doesn't get it. You need a guy that takes control. And that's what I wanted to show you. I'm going to give you a quick example of this right here with my good friend, Dr. Richard Reeves. Do you guys remember this one?
That moment of my incredibly feminist, unbelievably professionally successful wife to say, I think the problem is you're not masculine enough. And it was just like the energy that I had. I felt as if like asking for more in our relationship for myself was to be a bad feminist, was to not support her. I was supposed to be a good ally. The world is made for men and all our needs and desires and so on. So my job was to be an ally to her. And anything that got in the way of that was difficult or complicated. And it was, well, I don't know what would have happened to our relationship without it. But I can tell you that from that moment onwards, our relationship grew and flourished and continues to flower in a way that it just would not otherwise have done, because it's almost like by being so direct, she forced this movement inside me where I almost gave myself permission to give some expression to the sides of myself that are more masculine.
Sides. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah. So Rich, let me spit in her mouth, slap her face now and then, smack her on the ass. Let's see what else. Displays of dominance. She's not asking you to, well, I really want you to step up and take charge. No, she wants you to like bend her over the fucking kitchen sink is what she wants you to do. She wants you to spit in her face. She wants you to slap her face, right? She wants you to, you ever seen those videos where the guy goes like this?
Oh, yeah.
And the girl goes, and she runs up to it, and like that's what she wants you to do. All you got, Rich, here, just do this. That's all you have to do.
She wants to be Mjolnir.
Yes, exactly.
Thor's hammer.
Yes, exactly. Lift her at, like, tell her, get down into the position. Lordosis. I would like some Lordosis, please. What do you got here? Send all betas 2 to 3 years to Dagestan. Dagestan.
2-3 years, forget.
What the fuck? Okay, here we go. FYI, Bob, guys know the difference between a woman's desire versus a woman's necessity. Yes, they do. And that's kind of like what I'm getting at right now. I love it when guys are like, one of the things that gets me that I would sort of, is kind of ancillary to this, I guess, is that there's so many guys who will say, well, in the Bible, it says you're not supposed to deny your spouse because your body is his and his body is yours, right? And what's it in Corinthians? I don't even know where the fuck it is, but like they always like to quote that and everything like that. Guys, she doesn't want to fuck you. She doesn't want to fuck you. That's like, I don't care. Like you could quote. Nobody has ever scriptured their wife into sucking their dick. Okay, I said I'm going to be a little vulgar today. No guy has ever read, what is it, Corinthians 31 or whatever. No one's ever read that and gone, okay, let me whoop this out. No, stop it. What the fuck, man? These are guys who don't know, they don't fuck, but they think they should fuck because they're faithful to the word. They're walking in the faith. They're walking with the Lord. I don't know what the fuck you call it, right? Whether Christianese it is. First of all, you don't want that. I don't like. God forbid. God forbid. I gotta sympathize. I can empathize a little bit with you guys a little bit too, because I remember when I first got married, I was like, we're not having sex as much as we did when we were single, right? Mm-hmm. Well, like it's mostly logistics, right? Because it's like we got work to do, we got a kid and everything else. I understand, we just still want to fuck, and I kept thinking, well, the quality of your relationship is measured by how, like, the frequency of you fucking, right? And I go, that's kind of half-assed, because I'm like, it's not about the number of times you fuck, it's about the intensity of the fuck when you're fucking. That's really what comes down to. I told Coral this too. I said I would rather fuck twice a week and have it be some fucking like some Morning Glory milking fuck. It better be like Morning Glory milking farm, or I'm out of here. I want that. I want every ounce of you. I want every bit of you. I want all of your attention. Have you ever seen American Beauty?
Yes.
With Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey's in it. Okay. Do you remember the scene of them on the couch, like him and his ex-wife? Yeah, but soon to be ex-wife, right? And like he quit his job. He bought the muscle car. Yeah. He's like, it's a GTO. I've always wanted it. I rule. And he'd done this complete 180, right? His personality changed because he had his boss over a barrel. They gave him a really great severance package. He took a part of it and bought the car he always wanted, right? And so, he's going through a midlife crisis. No, he's like learning like what he's finding out who he really is, right? Who he wants to be, right? And he didn't want to be that little bitch anymore. And so he went and just started seducing his wife right there in the living room when she was pissed off at him because he lost his job and like he went and bought a car, blah, blah, blah. But like she got really, and I understand it's a script, I get it, but like the dynamic is from real life. The guy basically did a 180, turned around and said, this is what I'm out. And he got this close to like fucking her on the couch, but he has the beer in his hand. And the beer is just this tilted to just like drop some. And she's into him 100%. I shouldn't say into him 98%, but the 2% is him almost spilling the beer on the couch. And he's like, what? He's like, she's like, you're going to spill the beer on the couch or something like that, because like she was more concerned about the couch than fucking her husband, like being that wrapped up.
Yeah.
And so I always use that as kind of an example, right? And then of course he like flies off the handles. It's just a fucking couch, right? That, throws the beer off and shit like that. And I can understand where that energy, and for lack of a better term, that energy comes from, because I don't want a woman's mitigated desire. I want unmitigated, visceral, animal, morning glory milking farm lust, visceral lust from my wife, from any woman I would be with, right? That would be a prerequisite for anything, right? And I would rather have that kind of sex twice a week than go, okay, all right, I guess it's 4:00. Here we go.
Starfish time.
Are you done yet? I got laundry to fold,
She ain't putting her back into it.
Yeah, put you back into it. Yeah, and so I think a lot of sort of like married Christian women who don't fuck either, don't understand their own sexuality until somebody brings it out of them. Like if you've read my book, I'm going to say already, every woman can be a slut. You just have to be the guy that brings it out of them. And every man wants a slut. He just wants her to be his slut. That's all. And what do I mean by that? The Morning Glory Milky Farm. That's the intensity. That's the slut energy that I want from my wife. That's the slut energy. I don't. She have to be a slut, but like that's the kind of like the intensity and the focus that I'm looking for.
Sexual prowess.
Yes, I would rather have memorable sex twice a week than like obligated duty sex. Like God, I can't even say that fucking word. And the moment I realized it's the quality of that sex, not the frequency of that sex, that you should measure your relationship by. And by the way, if you're not having that sex, get out, leave, or work some way around it so you can make that happen. That's what Richard Reeves had to do. Right? He had to find some way to. And Rich, I'm just. This is just the red pill in me telling you this right now. But it's like, if you it's not about taking more responsibility. It's not about your walk with God. It's not about I've got to put her needs above mine and be a good servant leader. No, what it is you have to spit in her mouth and slap her face and turn her around and ride her to glory. That's what you need to be, the fucking Minotaur. You're like this big bear with these huge claws, and she's like this little rabbit, and you can't kill the bunny. And you don't know what to do with those claws. What movie? Come on, what movie? Somebody will come up with it. I know. Swingers. Swingers with Vince Vaughn. Yeah. Was good.
I haven't seen that in such a long time.
That is the best fucking. You want a red pill movie? Swingers is a red pill movie. Yeah. So is Blue Valentine, by the way, although it's in an anti-red pill way. But yes, so long story short, yes, guys do know the difference between a woman's desire and necessity. Yeah, because it's called starfish sex versus morning glory milking farm sex. Protection is part of beta bucks, but I thought physicality is alpha fucks. It is. It's physicality both. It can be when it comes to protection. But remember, protection is also part of like the physical manifestations of protection are also arousal cues for women, right? The reason why women want a guy who's tall, they want a guy with broad shoulders. They want a guy with like at least 18-inch guns. He's got to be on trend, or I don't want him. He's got to have a V taper. He's got to have visible abs. He's got to have ass divots, and
fuck
visible
fuck
me lines and visible serrats. Yes, coming in nicely. By the way, that machine, that one that they have that you do like that at Powerhouse is fucking. It does one thing really well. That's it. You want serrats? Get in that serrat machine. That's all it is. But that's why when you ask women what they look for in a guy, she's going to say he's going to be nice and charming and funny and loyal and a godly man of God and whatever. Well, my mom has to like him, and he wants puppy dog. He likes puppy dogs, Disneyland, and wants kids. Right? That's what she'll say she's looking for in a guy. You say, what turns you on about a guy? Depending on the girl that you ask how honest she is, that she's going to tell you like he's got to have like guns. He's got to have. This is what I really. What physical maybe that's a better question. What physical features of a guy turn you on? really get you going, because it's easy for guys, like big tits, thigh gap. For me, was hourglass figure, nice long legs, long hair, sort of feminine demeanor. Did I say big tits? Big tits. Oh yeah, big tits. Yeah, big tits. But that's easy, right? But asking women are like very cautious about saying shit like that. And really, honestly, I'm glad Rich sort of had this come to Jesus moment with his wife. Great. But I think it has more to do than just like, okay, well, I guess I'll man up and take charge, honey. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but slap her ass, spank her, slap your dick on her before you put it in, whatever the fuck.
Knock before you go in.
Back it up. Man, but like I said, I'm going to get graphic in today's show. Let's see. A woman's necessity asks it's 1, financial, 2, emotional, 3, biological, aka the clock after 30. Yeah, more or less. But you got to remember that remember the 74-year-old chick? Mm-hmm. She can't get the guy out of her head. And I will guarantee you, it's not because he had a shit ton of money. It's not because he was certainly not because he was emotionally invested, because he's clearly not with her. So, but I just can't get him out of my head. I just can't stop thinking about this dude. And this is going to sound rude. If you haven't lost all hope in humanity, you're about to lose it right now. I've heard firsthand stories of like women who are like Rose from Titanic at the end of their life, right? Maybe that's a better illustration. Rose at the end of Titanic is still pining. Like, what is she, 100 years old? Something. Yeah. Her birthday is on the thing, right? Drops a $250 million diamond down to the bottom of the ocean for a guy she fucked once in a lifeboat or some shit like that. In a car on the Titanic, right? And she'd rather be his whore than your wife. Remember that line? Yep. Yeah. And then you see all these sort of sweeping pictures of like all her life and everything. And she was Amelia Earhart and flew planes and rode English horses or some shit like that. It had kids and grandchildren and all this other stuff. And there was clearly a husband involved who provided who had to, hey, you go be Amelia Earhart or whatever. Because we're talking about the 1900s, early 1900s. Yeah. So odds are she didn't earn all that money herself. She wasn't some strong, independent woman of 1808, right? So clearly there was a guy, and she's not thinking about that guy or her wonderful life or her grandchildren or anything. She's still thinking about Jack at the bottom of the fucking ocean, to the point where she's going to go clunk, and it goes down to the bottom of the ocean. Right? Unbelievable. She's the villain of that fucking movie. That's the joke, right? She's the villain of that movie. But the reason why that is the greatest love story ever told is because you've got Jack, who, again, 2 princes, the guy who's this penniless, heroic kind of Han Solo. He's the happy-go-lucky kind of guy. And she doesn't want to marry the guy who she probably would have. Well, eventually she does actually marry that guy, or somebody like him anyways, who provides this wonderful life for her. And she's still at the end of her days, at the very last day she's alive, when she hits 100 years old, she still wants that. And the reason I was bringing that up is because I have had firsthand accounts of women who are in their 80s, in their 90s, and they're sort of giving I'll say deathbed, but like they're giving their confessions to their granddaughters, saying, well, what should I do, grandma? Should I marry Jack or should I marry the rich guy? And she'll say, marry Jack, because I literally said this. It's like, there's parts of me that your grandfather will never know or has never known. And I'm just like, at the end of your fucking life. Now, that's my worst case scenario. Like, if you're with a woman and she's like, well, there's just parts of me you'll never have. Bye. Out. I get everything, or I get no, I don't want it. Seriously. That's why I kept saying that it has to be total fucking commitment. Because if you're asking me to be totally committed to your purpose, if your pastor, what the fuck your name is, Pastor Joe, like whatever you're fucking, asking me to do, take more responsibility, do this, if your wife's not fucking you, it means that your walk with God is incomplete or is wrong. Or if mama ain't happy, God ain't happy. Right. And So I'm listening to this guy gaslight me. I'm listening to the woman gaslight me. I'm listening to watching these videos where it's like the guy's like, well, I'd really like some pussy sometime soon. Can I get that? You know, that's gaslighting everybody else. And then, so then you're Richard Reeves and you're trying to do what everybody has told you that your wife will be responsive to. And then suddenly out of the blue, she's like, I need you to spit in my mouth and fucking slap my face when we're fucking, like, for lack of a better, let's say, figuratively speaking. I need you to, that's kind of something I need right now. Why? Because there's a part of me you will never have, that the hot guy in the foam cannon party on spring break in Cancun, I was drunk, he was cute, and one thing led to another. That guy got me completely. And I'm still thinking about him today at 74 years old. And I still have dreams about him. In my dreams, I'm still 23 years old in the foam cannon party in Cancun, which, by the way, is where Mike is right now for Swimsuit USA. And I don't know, I can neither confirm nor deny there was a foam cannon party there. But that's the dude you have to be. You want to save your marriage. The red pill is now going to save your marriage, gentlemen. Spit in her mouth and slap her face. You have to be the Minotaur in Milking Farm. That's what you got to be. It's not about, we're going to pray it away. We got to spend more time in the scriptures. I got to make more money. I got to get a promotion. Once I do, then I got to buy her flowers for no reason. I got to do, no. You know what you need to do? You need to be the fucking, the Minotaur. Is that a Minotaur?
I think so.
I feel like I'm calling this guy. Am I unfairly? Okay, that is a Minotaur. That's definitely a Minotaur. Look, that's the way your wife will look at you. She'll be like, "I'm lost in the beast." Right?
It probably smells like hay.
Smell like something else. smell like sweat, like bull sweat, man sweat, and bull sweat. Right? It's gotta be Minotaur sweat, right? And so I'm having this conversation with Coral, and I'm like, it's the Beauty and the Beast theme, right? Belle falls in love with the beast. Yep. She doesn't fall in love with the prince. In fact, the prince is boring. Like Perfect is boring. The prince is the guy with all the money. The prince is the guy who Rose. The prince was the guy who facilitated her entire lifestyle. But the beast is at the bottom of the fucking ocean, and she's like, plunk, and drops the $250 million eye of the sea or diamond of the ocean down to the icy depths where they'll live. Well, they'll dance in the ballroom for eternity. You cannot imagine how many. I used to work at I was a tech coordinator. I was like a computer guy when that movie came out, and it was for a school system. And I remember the teenage girls at the time they came back like when Titanic debuted, when it came out that weekend and everything, that Monday morning, all these girls like, they were just Jack. And I'm like, what's wrong with it's like, I thought maybe like a celebrity died.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I hadn't seen the movie yet, right? I don't know what the fuck it was going on. And there were so many of these girls, like, did like Justin Bieber die or something? Like, he wasn't even around then. But I thought something really bad, like some national tragedy had happened that I wasn't aware of. I was like, no, Jack is at the bottom of the ocean.
Jack Nicholas?
I had no idea. But that it really, really affected them, because that's the theme. That's why Richard Reeves has to man up. That's why you have to man up. You want your wife to start having sex with you back, you've got to be that guy. So we're going to start talking about how the red pill can save your relationships instead of destroy your relationships. And the first step in that is you've got to break up with your wife. I don't mean like give her divorce papers or anything like that. You've just got to break up here. You're practically there anyways, right? And at that point, you got to be like, what would you do? Like I've said this. I have a series of chapters. It's in, let's see, what is it? Oh, it's in book 3. It's in Positive Masculinity. There's a series in that of chapters. They're a 4-part series. It's called The Reconstruction. And the first part of Reconstruction for guys who are in marriages that are sexless marriages is to break up with your wife. And I don't mean like, break up, like give her file divorce papers, but to break up like sort of mentally and then get to the gym. What would you do? Like, so it proceeds from this question. What would you do if you found yourself like you were a widower tomorrow, or you found yourself single tomorrow, what would be the first thing you would do? Well, I get in the gym, I go do this. Okay, then that's what you're going to do. You go to the gym, you get up, and you start have a new dedication. You have a new purpose, right? Your purpose is you want to get back in the sexual marketplace. Then you've got to go train. You've got to get yourself better. You've got to improve your situation. I don't care how that was. It money, muscles, game. I don't know where that begins. Usually it's physicality, right? Get in the gym, start getting up at 5 a.m, go for your run, go lift, get to work, shower up, please shower. And so you don't smell like bull sweat. And then watch what happens to you. Like watch the physical improvements, and also put her off. Ghost her on whatever you want to call it, put her off. She's already not having sex with you. So it's probably pretty easy to, like, most guys get into this cycle, right? They're like, they are the ones who are the only ones in the relationship that are initiating sex. That's all they do. How about now? You horny now? I wash the dishes. Like, remember the chore play video I played last week? Yes. And I put the laundry and I sorted them into the right color. I'm getting vagina tingles.
If I do chore play, whose fault is it?
Yeah. Don't do that. You're done. You're just like, okay. So why do I say you're done? Well, because the medium is the message. What's the medium? The medium is she's not having sex with you. The message is, I don't want to fuck you. That's the medium. Okay. Well, you don't want to fuck me. Then I have to act as if I am going to be single in the near future, and I'm going to get myself ready for being single. Now, most guys will find that like 6 months into their sort of their training regimen or their reconstruction project, themselves being the reconstruction project, they find that people start to treat them differently. Women at work start treating them differently. Women at the gym, women that might be in your wife's social circle start treating you differently. And so, like, one of the things we're going to talk about here when I get into how the red pill actually saves relationships is based on this very kind of confused idea about dread game. We're going to talk about dread here because they want to say that, oh, these guys, these red pill pickup artist guys, they talk about dread and ghosting and da-da-da-da. I'm like, well, how is it ghosting if they're already in a situation where the wife is not having sex with them in the first place? How is it ghosting if there is a sort of that disconnect? Like, for the most part, when women like break up with a guy, it's just a formality by the time they get to the breakup. They've already left the guy 6 or 8 months ago. They've already planned this out. They've got the jujitsu instructor, right? They've got the personal trainer, right? Because they're doing exactly what I'm telling you to do, which is just preparing for the worst. I'm just telling you to be pragmatic. I'm not telling you to break up for like really break up. Just saying that you've got to mentally break up with that person. And then you get to a point where you built yourself up and you become something more. You become something different. You be like even Richard Reeves here, right? I had to do something different, right? She wanted me to, it got so bad that she asked me to man the fuck up, right? At least you got that warning shot across the bow. Most guys don't get that fucking warning shot, right? And so once you get to that point where you've improved yourself, usually physically first, right? Then suddenly she might start initiating, or she might like wonder why you're not initiating. And then that's that. Like I said, women's imagination is the best tool in your toolbox. What's he doing? Why is he doing this? My girlfriends say he's looking way good. Like they would probably fuck him if I don't fuck him. Right? I don't see how that is in any way manipulative. Like if I, like, for instance, like I do Access Vegas all the time, right? I'm around hot women every fucking week. And this is Las Vegas anyways. If it's not in the gym, it's on the show. If it's not on the show, it's walking to the show, right? I can't walk through Red Rock Casino with my wife, by the way, without having guys come up to me and women come up to me, right? Because they know me from the show, or God forbid them with Mike at the same time, right? Because then we're really going to get it. But I know I'm not you. And I know that guys don't really have the opportunity to display like pre-selection or social proof, but because most of the time there's nothing to pre-select, like who wants to fuck this guy, right? If a woman gets so comfortable with you, or she's like, I'm with a guy that other women don't want to fuck, so why should I want to fuck him either? Like, how is, like, this is just, I'm not using studies or research. This is just basic binary logic. So I don't see how this is a bad thing or manipulative in any way, because it's basically a replay on what women use anyways. So why is that? Why is what turnabout fair play? Why is that? Why would not be the obvious thing? And on top of everything else, I'm saying do better. Go lift. Find ways to make more money. Whatever it is that you think you're deficient in, money muscles game, find some way that you're deficient in that, because that all sort of amounts to your frame. And your frame is the world that woman wants to be a part of. If a woman is not fucking you, she doesn't want to be a part of your frame. And like, how is that like in any way like a foreign language to anybody? It's not hard to wrap your head around. But apparently I'm an asshole, who's ruining marriages for pointing out the fucking obvious. So, and really, I think that's really all the red pill does is it points out the obvious, and the guys are like, "Oh my God, this is obvious." And then what do? They initiate change. Now, for instance, if Richard Reeves had been listening to me, let's just say for sake of argument, and he's still kind of like weesh and sort of feminine, and he's a male feminist and everything, he starts listening to me, and I say the same fucking thing his wife says. I say, "Did you just need to be more masculine? You need to get in your masculine energy, whatever. You need to go lift. You need to go this. You need to spit in her mouth and like slap her face, right? Be the Minotaur, right?" If I go and I say that, I'm evil. I'm a manipulative son of a bitch because I'm questioning the values of his wife. I'm questioning the quality of his fucking relationships. No, I might be saving his life and saving his relationships because his wife hasn't gotten to the point where she said, "I need you to be more masculine." I did. She didn't. I beat her to the punch. I'm the dick. She's not, for saying exactly the same fucking thing I would have said. That's the problem that I have with these dumb sons of bitches. Oh, the red pill's destroying marriages and everything. No, we're helping these guys. We're helping these guys get out like this tunnel fucking vision. We're helping these guys think about things in a new way, exactly the same way as Dr. Richard Reeves, who wrote Of Boys and Men, who actually probably hates my guts, but I'm using him as a positive example of what I'm talking about here. Like, he basically did a red pill. That's why I kept this video. I've had this video like in my archives forever, man. He's doing what we would have said anyways, but because it's his wife, and he's initiating the change because his wife requested it or his wife said something about it. What if I said, "I know your wife wants you to be more masculine. Why don't you be more masculine?" Then I'm a dick. Then I'm being manipulative. And I'd say, "Oh, it's dread game. You better do it or else." No, she said it, not me. What do you want from me? So, where did it, God, I can't even believe this. So, by the way, that's the cover of the book. Okay, so I'm going to point out a few things here. I don't even know the dude's name. The guy the last video, the guy with the voice with the thing. Anyways, he's been coming at me. I don't even know who the dude is, honestly. But I have seen him on whatever podcast, and I think Andrew Wilson sort of just basically dressed him down, and so he simply doesn't know what he's talking about. But he's like everyone else is trying to make a living or trying to build a brand based on anti-red pill, right? Same thing for Mary, who is a good friend of mine. I actually kind of like her. I've been on her show before. I don't know that she is. I used to think she was Tim Pool's girlfriend, but I don't think she is. This girl, Mary something or other. Where'd it go? Is this it? Wait a minute. Oh, no. It's in my other one. Hang on one second. So anyways, this chick, they're talking about, nope, that's not it. So let's close that out. It's back in my videos. Here we go. The red pill destroyed their relationships. Mary, what the fuck is her name?
Ich denke, viele Medien wollen einem weismachen, dass
God damn it. I downloaded it wrong. Hold on, I'll just go fetch it off of YouTube. Hang on. Which is probably what I should have done to begin with.
I say Mary Morgan.
Mary Morgan, there you go. Yeah, Mary Morgan. I've been on her show. I was on that show last time I was out there for Tim Pool. She shoots in the same studio as Tim Pool. Where's my histories? Okay, much better. Got it now. All right, hold on. Let me get past the ads here, so you don't have to watch people dentist commercials. All right. Here we go. Share this. There we go. Okay. Women reveal how red pill content destroyed their relationships. Here we go. Is that it? There we go.
Of media would have you assume that red pill content is for teenage boys and disaffected young white men. And while that is largely true, and narratives like the one in Netflix's Adolescence show would have you believe that, it is increasingly, according to women in relationships, affecting men in their 20s, 30s, sometimes even their 40s and 50s. And there is a new article documenting the experience of 4 women who claim that the red pill content their boyfriends, fiancés, husbands were exposed to online destroyed their relationships. And, you know, I do think that they could have watched out for some signs here in some of these examples, but there are other women who say they've been completely blindsided by this and they're already married at this point.
The internet is a terrifying
and then,
place.
you know, suddenly
All right, this thing is buffering.
your spouse goes down an online rabbit hole that you never could have predicted. It's kind of a nightmare scenario for a lot of them.
The scarier version of this. The scarier version of this is a guy who marries a woman who makes a lot of money, and then she's like, I want to become a trad wife. He's like, no!
Goes full on ballerina farm. And he's like, no, like, I kind of wanted you to make a dual income.
Wouldn't it be really, really funny? That would actually be like a great skit. Like, this guy marries a really rich woman, and then she wants to be a trad wife, but then he becomes red pilled because he's like, she should be listening to me and working, and she's not submitting and being a good trad wife unless she's.
All right, so I'm gonna just halt it right here for half a second. We're already off to a really bad start. Okay, the red pill has nothing to do with trad wives. Has nothing to do with traditional going on, you know, right wing ish. God, I don't even know what to call it now because it's been so bastardized and so corrupted these days. It has nothing to do with wanting your wife to, you know, wear some fucking Amish frock with the little, you know, with the frill on the neck or some shit like that. You need to dress more modestly, you know, like I can't even believe like this is, or we're even having this conversation in 2025. Like, it's not Little House on the fucking Prairie, okay? It's not Laura Ingalls. You know, Pa isn't going to go out and chop wood and throw fucking, you know, wood on the fire and go kill a buck and bring it back or anything like that. That's not even the 20th century. That's like fucking what this is, 18th century, right? That's not 19th century. We don't live in the Oregon Trail anymore. Okay. We've conquered America. Thank you. Let's move on. And the problem we have right now, I think primarily is when it comes to understanding what the red pill is or what it isn't, is that we want to solve these 21st century problems, in this case, women hoeing around and body counts and this and that, with 20th century solutions, or in this case, 19th century solutions, right? You're not going to solve body count by forcing women into, you know, churning butter in the Amish Dutch country in Pennsylvania. Here we are, we're traditional wives. We're gonna go raise a barn, you know, or go in our horse-drawn buggies. Like, no one is doing that. That's not how fucking things. Serious people don't fucking talk about stupid shit like this. Okay, so to say that guys like are like the red pill guys have some sort of conflict of interests, right? Or some sort of cognitive dissonance about like wanting a slut, but she can't be a slut because she's got to wear that Amish, you know, frock, you know, and be a housefrau or something like that. Well, make up your mind, red pill guys. Yeah, well, thank you, Andrew Tate. Thank you, fucking Pearl Davis. Thank you, the rest of these guys. Even Myron doesn't come up with bullshit that crazy. But the thing is when you're trying to build a brand and build a grift, and I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but I'm saying when you're trying to build a grift off of this stuff, it pays to roll down the slippery slope, right? It pays to take it that to the logic, the illogical extreme, the absurdity, ad absurdum, right? That's what it takes, because nothing, you can't
you can't accelerate anything more than going full retard, right? You can't. It's escalation. It's like retard escalation, and I mean that in the clinical sense. Clinically speaking, let me put her back in here. I forget. I got to keep going back to
making money for me.
So, Refinery 29 has changed their names for privacy, but they document first Kelsey, age 28, had a long-standing crush on Peter when they were in.
Okay, hold on. Before I do that, I need to go over to this window here and start sharing this tab instead. There we go. Okay, so this is the article that Douche Nozzle, what's his face, in the clip put up. And this is actually the article that Mary is reading from right now. And I'll just skip the bits here real quickly. Talking about Kelsey, age 28, had a longstanding crush on Peter. All the names are changed to protect the innocent. When they were at high school together. Okay, we're already talking about a high school fucking relationship. Okay. Now, if this sounds unbelievable, like the people shown in this photo are not those people. Okay.
Like recently children.
Yes, they're recently children. Thank you for that. Age 28. Okay. They were high school sweethearts. Oh. But she never thought she'd be interested in her. She never thought he'd be interested in her romantically. He seemed too cool. Like, here we go, building the narrative. She says, so when he started DMing her over Instagram a few years after they graduated, eventually asking her out, it all felt like a dream. She liked that Peter seemed to share a lot of her values. All right, I'm going to stop it right there and we're going to switch back to this. Remember what I said about values in the very beginning. No man has ever valued a woman into bed. Got it? Good.
High school together, but she never thought that he would be interested in her romantically. Then he started DMing her on Instagram a few years after they graduated, eventually asking her out, and it felt like a dream. She liked that he seemed to share a lot of her values. Quote, he was very liberal, pretty hippie, and a vegan, and into rave culture and that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so oh my gosh. No one cares about values. Not when you're not in your high school. Not when you're not even when you're in your mid-20s. Certainly women do not care about values in your 20s, right? That becomes important when you're 28, 29, maybe 30. And even then, most people don't even know what their fucking values are, right? I know what my values are. I was brought up as a good God-fearing Christian, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you were born into that, great. And you are fed that as part of your identity for a very long time, great, awesome. But you're not thinking about values when you're like, man, I'd really like to tap that ass. You're not thinking about values when you're Richard Reeves and your wife says, spit in my face and slap my face when we're choke me out when we're fucking, right? Be the Minotaur. Nobody's thinking about values. Nobody's thinking about he's going to be a good provider. Nobody's thinking about, oh, he's going to be a good, I love this man so much. I can't wait to have his babies. No, it's fuck me, Minotaur. Fuck me now and tear me apart. Like make me, make me your bitch. There's your clip. Make me your bitch. Right? That's what it comes down to when it comes to raw, visceral sex that women, I don't know, buy 65 million fucking copies of 50 Shades of Grey in the first year. Or was it 65 to 70 million copies in the first year? How many? I wish I had the stats for this. How many copies of Morning Glory Milking Farm books 1 through 5 have been purchased by women? Since 2021, when it first went on sale, and still the #1 erotic science fiction and science fiction erotica, whatever it is, right? Like no one is saying, no woman is going, I wonder if we share the same values, Minotaur. I know you're a beast. I know you've got gigantic horns. I know, let's see, where is it? Hold on. I know you look like this. Oh, I wonder what his values are. Do you think my mom will like him when I bring him home? No one fucking cares. It's not rocket science. Really. Stop it with this bullshit. No one cares.
Bull maxing.
Yeah, bull maxing. Yes, you are definitely bull maxing. Jesus, like no one cares about values. Not when they're fucking. Not in the beginning. I've said this a million times. I've told this story before. I'm not going to get into it right now. But when I met my wife, or the woman who would be my wife, I didn't go, I wonder if she'd be a great mother for my children. I wonder if she churns butter. I wonder what her body count is. I wonder if she'd like to come back to the farm with me and help me with the goats, not the cattle. I looked at my wife and I was like, I looked at my soon-to-be girlfriend and I was like, I want to tap that ass. That's what I thought. I wonder if she's a good God-fearing Christian. I didn't care if she was Jewish. I didn't care if she was Muslim. I didn't care what the fuck. She could have been a Hare Krishna for all I fucking
My
cared.
mind's in corruption.
Yes. You know what religion I want? I want whatever it is that's going to help me tap that ass. I'm there. All right, whatever you want me to say. Because that's really what you're thinking at those times. So I hate this bullshit about, I'm considering having sex with you, Robert. Well, why? Well, I think we have compatible values. No one cares. No one does that.
If I play this ploy long enough.
Stop it. I know.
The thing is, he's just into whatever the current
This was
thing
his
is.
starting point.
Yeah, he totally flipped, man.
He made me want to be a better person, she says. But about a year into dating, toward the end of the pandemic, Peter started to change. It began with his diet. He became a carnivore, citing an influencer named Paul Saladino who promotes a carnivore.
Is Paul Saladino part of the red pill? No, he is not. Continue.
Diet as an inspiration.
He just stopped being a vegan and became red pill. His diet
went the complete opposite.
And we're sure this is shocking for many of you that just hear the news and tune in.
So this is a dude who doesn't know how to do any moderation. He just goes whatever the newest trend is.
When Kelsey looked up this influencer, she saw that he was anti-vax, and soon after, Peter started to parrot his views on.
Okay, ladies, Mary, I love you. You know I love you. I've been on your show. We talked about Henry Cavill, for fuck's sake, and Warhammer 40,000. How could I not be in love with you? I really love you to death. But let me just try to clarify a few misfires here. Okay. Anti-vax has nothing to do with the red pill. Thank you. End of story. Bye. Okay. No anti-vax. Who cares? No one cares anymore. Nobody cared then. I'm gonna channel my inner Mike Sartain. No one cares. No one cares. Oh, I want a girl who's vax and not vax. Dude, if that chick looked like fucking Claudia Fajal, you won't care if she's fucking vax or she's not. She is vax. Oh, I can't fuck her. Why not? She's gorgeous. She's a fucking Playboy centerfold. She's a penthouse pet. She has 0 body counts, right? Whatever. Like she looks like that. Yeah, but she's vaxxed. What?
It's spoiled.
Oh no! Back to the drawing board. She's totally into me too. Oh. No one cares. No one cared that freaking Donald Trump banged Stormy Daniels. No one cares. He's still the president. No one cares. Same thing. Was it O.J. Simpson? No one cares. If you ever before O.J. died, do you know he used to hang out at Jing down here with Summerlin, it's a club that's in Summerlin and stuff, and he was hanging out with women who are just as blonde and just as pretty as Nicole Brown Simpson. Do you think anyone? Do you think any of those women knew what OJ was about? Do you think that they even knew that he played what was he in Miami Dolphins? He was running back for Miami.
Juice.
The Juice. Very sure they knew. Yeah. Oh, you got a cute nickname. Yeah, that's all they knew, right? Nobody cares. No one cares. God. Or what is it? The guy from Wolf of Wall Street basically punched his wife in the stomach to make her have an abortion or stuff like that. Yep. Still has his business. Still not in jail. Still doing his shit, man. No one cares. Nobody cares.
On vaccinations, and while his change in views disturbed Kelsey, she still saw the qualities that she'd fallen for in him. We still had good moments. We still laughed together. I was hoping that he would change.
No, she never mentions the qualities she fell for. Yeah. His 12-inch cock and his 6-foot tall demeanor.
That's a classic line from women in dead end relationships.
There's a
Like I was
20.
just waiting for him to change.
By the
We have
way,
a 20 from Dr. Larcena. What she was wearing while bull dancing was quite analogous to pictorial representations from Knossos mosaics. Do Christian productions need to be both historically inaccurate and lame to pass muster?
Well, I mean, if they put the research in and that's what it looked like they were wearing at the time, then that matters.
Sure. What were you about to?
Well, what I was going to ask, because they start talking about the vaccine, etc., and so I'm curious what is meant by red pill here. Are they using red pill in the precise way to refer to the online men's movement, or do they just mean red pill is a generic term for right
They
wing?
are referring to the manosphere content,
Okay.
but they're saying there are certain entry points that have more to do with health, self-improvement, politics, and
He started taking care of himself and rejected my ideology. That's
Right.
But this happens. We've covered stories where women Mary has covered the stories here where it's like the woman's like they start out Maha and before long,
right?
Like they leave your vegan craft shop and suddenly they want to have kids and get married.
So she says as time went on, Peter's views got more extreme and his behavior toward her grew more controlling.
I want to point out, I like what that dude said just a minute ago there about like the being anti-vax this or vax that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that is never and it has absolutely fuck all to do with the red pill. Okay, if that's your particular paranoia and your fucking superstition, then by all means go jerk off somewhere else in another corner. But that is not red pill. Okay. I don't care what your views are on that. I remember when I was at Mike Sartain and Gary the Numbers Guy did their debate about like astrology and numerology and all that. And of course, Mike just like rakes him over the coals. But one of the part of that conversation was was it Gary the Numbers Guy tried to like reframe the conversation because he knew he was losing, right? He tried to reframe it and was like, well, have you taken the vax? To Mike, right? Because he knew Mike was military, right? Yeah. And then he asked me if I'd taken the vax. And I'm like, no, I didn't take the vax. But he's like, and then he asked Mike, and Mike did because he had to, because it was mandatory for him, if he wanted to have VA benefits and all that shit, right? So then of course he goes and says, well, you see, you're pretty weak. You're a weak person. You wouldn't understand numerology because you took the vax. You took the vax, so therefore there's something wrong with the way you think.
Discredits everything.
And I had to think about that for a minute. I'm like, is this really a thing? Like, we're gonna like that's this tribe and this is my tribe. How did I get into the cool kids tribe by just not taking the vax? Is that all I had? Yeah. And I thought about that and I go, I didn't take the vax because I'm a lazy fuck, dude. I didn't do it because it was like, yeah, don't take the vax, pure blood or whatever. That didn't even cross my mind. I'm self-employed. I don't have to take the vax. I didn't have to do that. My daughter, they wanted my daughter to do it. My daughter didn't want to do it. And so she like claimed a religious exemption because she was at UNLV and they were making you had to take it to go to take classes unless you had some sort of religious protestation. And fortunately they it was right around the time where they were sort of relaxing shit. But she was like, I'll do whatever I got to do. I'll bullshit my way out of it. I don't give a flying fuck. I'm not taking this thing. And I didn't want her to anyways, but and then of course what happens later is that we find out that the vax is all bullshit, right? And so I'm like, I just dodged a bullet, but I dodged a bullet because I was lazy, not because it was some sort of form of protest or anything like that.
I mean, I kind of did it for that exact reason, but
well, a lot of people were like, I don't blame people for taking it because
I understand if you're
because
high risk.
if you especially if you're working at the casinos here and they're like, okay, you're a floor person or floor manager or something like that, and you're going to lose your job unless you take this. Like they're forcing people to do this. And again, is the fix into the higher ups and the supervisors and the managers and people who run the casinos? Are they trying to get everybody to take? No, they're just doing what they have to so they can avoid lawsuits is what they're just covering their asses. It's not like they thought one way or the other about the fucking vax. They just knew that if they didn't, someone's going to sue them for it. If somebody caught COVID and one of your employees had it,
and you had foreknowledge.
Yeah, he had foreknowledge of it. That's your ass, and they have a lot of money to get. So yeah, of course. Well, I guess everybody's going to have the vax then, so we can cover our asses. And so it wasn't even so much. I don't think it was like I think a lot of the paranoia and the craziness that went on was just people following suit. It was just herd mentality. It was just people following suit because they either were afraid of losing their jobs or they were afraid of lawsuits or something else. It's not like they were like, what are we going to do? How can we filch shekels out of people's pockets, with the vax, it's not, I mean, was there probably somebody who was like, the vaccine companies and everything? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of that happened, but like, it wasn't everybody under every fucking rock wasn't, about the vax. In fact, a lot of people were anti-vax. So I don't care. It has nothing to do with intersexual the praxeology of intersexual dynamics. It has nothing to do with that. Stop it. And the only reason okay, so she's reading from this article right here about how her relationship was ruined.
Yep.
Thus far, nothing she said has anything to do with the red pill. Nothing. It's all about fucking right-wing politics and everything. And the guy's 28 years old. He's turning 30. He's probably made some more money. He's worried, he's thinking about the future. And guess what? He starts listening to fucking, I don't know, Jake Shields or somebody, and so if she would have said Jake Shields, I'd be like, okay, I get it. I understand what you're talking about.
Quote, he started trying to dictate what I should eat, saying that I shouldn't eat vegetables anymore. He also started telling her to dress more modestly and to dye her hair, which was pink at the time, a normal color. And in the last
still nothing to do with the red pill.
Few months of their relationship, he began to make comments that were, as she put it, transphobic and sexist. He started to quote Jordan Peterson in conversation regularly.
I can tell you right now that if I talk about as logically and as measured as I can about the differences between men and women, like the biological differences between men and women, people will call them, and I'm not saying homosexuals are evil. I'm not saying trans people are evil. I'm not saying, they're degenerate fucks, whatever. I would never give that opinion on this. You ask me privately, I'll give you my opinion, but I'm not going to say that. I certainly wouldn't say that shit on my show, but it doesn't matter. Because all I have to do is say, well, the reason why the trans ideology or the trans movement, whatever the fuck we're calling it right now, is having such a tough time of it right now is because it's this emotional investment in this fantasy, and what was really just sort of a mass delusion, and it runs headlong into real life. And you've heard me say that it's emotionalism versus empiricism, and when those two clash, that's what happens. If I say that, I'm a misogynist. If I say that, I'm homophobic. I'm transphobic. I'm not. I'm just telling. If I go and I say that, and this is 100% confirmed. I'll show you the studies if you'd like. Over 600,000 people in the poll for this research is that people who are sort of like gender non-normative or whatever gender who identify as trans, who are neurotypical. Is that what it's called? Yeah, something like that, whatever. Not neurotypical. Like 600. They are 6 times more likely. If you're trans, you're 6 times more likely to have autism.
Yeah.
Diagnosed. Done. There it is. Black and white. Nobody talks about that. No one wants to say it. No. I'll talk about it. But guess what they'll call me after I say that? Oh, well, I don't have tits and a vagina. So if I have a penis, then I can't say those things without being called a transphobe, homophobe, whatever phobe. I'm just relating the information out there. And then because I'm relating the information, I must be a homophobe. If it's a woman saying the same thing, well, unless it's J.K. Rowling, then maybe it's a little bit more accepted. That's why like whenever I see them talking about like the same kind of stuff I talk about when it comes to like how women and men organize societies and men are more hierarchical, women are more egalitarian. If I say that, I'm a sexist fuck. But if some chick at a TEDx conference says it, it's groundbreaking. It's this novel new idea. The red pill's been around a lot longer than Andrew Tate. It's been around a lot longer than Coach Craig Adams. It's been a lot longer than Fresh and Fit. It's been a lot longer, than even Jordan Peterson. It's been around a lot longer than any of this stuff. Okay. So when people say, oh, the red pill this and the red pill that, they don't know what they're talking about.
And read books about traditional marriage and roles for women versus men. On one occasion, he tried to read a passage from the book titled The Case for Patriarchy, which resulted in an explosive argument. They broke up shortly after. She said, our relationship just started to feel very one-sided by then. Like I had to please him. It didn't matter how I was feeling anymore.
That's the Tim Gordon book, I think.
Is it?
The Case for Patriarchy. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I see her side of things because
absolutely.
She got into this relationship thinking like I'm dating this like safe liberal hippie guy.
He was a completely different person.
Right,
They weren't compatible.
No, they were compatible
At
one
first.
point.
And then
The
they
problem
weren't
is that
anymore.
this guy had absolutely no idea
But
who
then
he was.
You
and he just-
outgrew her, King.
Yeah.
His problem is that he expected her to conform, and when they were no longer compatible, tried to like make her into the woman that he matured into wanting later in life. you know?
Yeah, and I so obviously a man should try to lead a woman, but when you're in a relationship with someone, especially if you're not yet married, listen, man, there's only so much you can do.
Well,
if you outgrew, or if your values are no longer aligned, maybe it makes sense to no longer be in that relationship. But there's a lot to.
So I want to point out the fact that these are high school sweethearts as well. Okay. Remember, she starts out this story by saying, you know, they met in high school and he was this way and he was this liberal guy who liked raves and blah, blah, blah. Right. Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they've never fucked anybody else but each other. They've never been with, and remember, the chick is 28 and they got together in high school. So since, let's just say for sake of arguments, their senior year, okay,
17, 18.
you're still looking at 10 years together. And in all likelihood have never fucked or been in a date or been with anybody else except for each other. And so now, do people do a lot of growing and do they do a lot of maturation during that time? Absolutely they do. That's one of the reasons, gentlemen, that I keep, here is a red pill thing. Don't get into a relationship until you're 30, at least. Okay. And no, that's not Dr. Orion Taraban. That is Dr. Rollo Tomasi is what that is. Okay. I've said this as far back as 2004, 2005 on the social forums. Don't even consider monogamy until you're 30. And I mean, like, just have a girlfriend. I'm not saying marry anyone. Okay. Because you still haven't even hit your stride. You haven't even hit your peak yet. You're not going to hit your peak. You're not going to become, I mean, your potential, your peak potential in your mid 30s, you're not even there yet. Your sexual selectivity is nothing compared to what it will be once you have maximized your potential and maximized the things that make you maximally arousing and maximally attractive. Then you get to pick. See, the problem is guys like this get into these long-term relationships for 10 years and they were high school sweethearts and they probably believed in this. Oh, it's so great that you guys got together in high school. You're going to make it work. It's this, American dream fantasy of, two star-crossed kids who met. It's a fucking Taylor Swift song is what it is, man. You belong to me. Like, God, stop listening to her.
Fantasy.
Yeah, it's this fantasy. But we all want to believe it's true. And if it breaks up, it's got to be those red pill sons of bitches. Yep. It's got to be those guys. And I'll tell you, the thing that gets me is like, so you got a couple that's probably been together for about 10 years, at least since 18, right? And now they're 28. Never fucked anybody else. I've always been together. I've been boyfriend and girlfriend for however long. But the chick probably thought she was going to marry this guy. The guy hasn't got married. He starts watching Fresh and Fit and instantly becomes brainwashed. Must worship Myron and Fresh. Make pilgrimage to Brickell. It's like, no, that's not how it fucking works. Okay. I know that when you're trying to build a brand and you're trying to be as fucking outrageous as you possibly can. Yeah. Okay. I get it. But that's not how things go down. And so you got this couple that's been together and the guy's like, maybe things aren't, he's what we call awakened while married, although he's not married. It's when guys are in these relationships, they're in a marriage and they read my book. We've been talking about, I've talked about awakened while marriage since as far back as like 2008, 2009 on the social forums. Guys who are married, especially guys who are in sexless marriages, and they're looking for answers. As I said before, the Red Pill doesn't advertise. We don't have billboards up. We don't have any, banner ads on any place, anything like that. You have to come looking for answers. So what happens when guys are trapped in sexless good Christian marriages, what do? They start looking for answers. Where do they find those answers? They find them in the manosphere. It might not be me. It might not be Brian Stone. It might not even be Tate. It might be somebody else. I don't know. But the thing is that they're looking for those answers, and there's a reason why they're looking, because they're in a fucking place that's untenable for them. And that's where this guy probably was. And so he's like, well, I've changed my mind about a few things. I've grown up. I'm maturing. That's why I kept saying, wait until you're 35, 36 before you get, because so you know who the fuck you are. It's not just about like sexual selectivity. It's also having the fucking forethought and having the maturity to say, I need this and I don't need that. I used to vote for Obama and now I vote for Trump. And you know what? Now I want to get with a woman who's more about Trump than Obama. But right, I was left leaning. Now I'm right leaning. And so this is what I'm after. And the thing is if you fell into this romantic milk farm fucking, narrative with your girlfriend, and now you're somebody else, and she expected you to be, liberal, vegan, weesh guy for the rest of your life, and you don't do that. I'm sure he probably tried to get her to change because he probably loves her and he probably wants to bring her along for the ride. If anything, this is an act of caring. It's not an act of pushing her away or anything like that.
Like, don't put yourself on the timeline. Shit changes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you wait until you're 30 years old before you have a fucking monogamous relationship. I'm not saying don't get married. I'm not even saying don't have a monogamous relationship. I'm just saying give it some fucking time, because women peak at 23. Men peak potential at around 35, 36, because takes longer for men to mature into their peak potential. At least give yourself an option, right? When you get to that point, like I have so many fucking trad cons who will say like, oh, Rollo and the Red, well, they won't say Rollo, they never say my name. Those red pill guys always say never get married. No, I'm saying wait till you're 36 and pick somebody better than you would have picked if you were desperate and you wanted to get married at, 19, because you're a completely different person. You have different priorities. You've grown in your values, right? You've matured. You're a better judge of character. Hopefully along the way, I'm not saying stay a virgin your whole fucking life until you're 36. I didn't say that. In fact, that's part of the fucking learning curve. That's part of the process. How do I know what I want and I don't want? I'll tell you how I did. Hell, I was 28 when it happened, but like, people say, well, Rollo, how come you don't say the things that you don't do the things that you say? Well, again, I'm where I'm at, not because I did everything right, because I did everything wrong, or I did some things wrong. Okay. Clearly I'm doing something right because, as I've said before, I attribute in great part the success of my marriage to being fucking red pill, to having the understanding of my nature, human male nature and human female nature, knowing what my wife is about, knowing what I'm about, and knowing how the confluence of those two come together and the best combinations of those things. That's why the red pill works in relationships. That's why it saves relationships. But we only hear this bullshit about, like, you'll notice that this is all cast in politics at this point, right? It's never been like, well, he outgrew me. Women we don't hear the guy's side of the story either. You're only going to hear it from the chick's side of the story. So when you're a guy, when you're another dude and you're relating this in some, I hate Rollo, or I hate Myron, or I hate Tate, quick hit, 45-second, 1 minute TikTok reel or whatever the fuck it is, you are the male feminist in this. You are relating that story for the female side of that whole argument, that whole debate. And you want to sell a book at the end of your fucking clip based on it, right? What about the guys? And I did a show about this not too long ago. Well, actually it was back in 2020, I think. I was approached in 2019, 2020 by a Dutch team of documentary guys. And this was like, remember, this is before Tate, and this is before Fresh and Fit. And this is, it was in between my experience with the 21 convention and then sort of doing my own thing with Fresh and Fit, right? But I had this Dutch documentary team come up to me and they wanted to interview me. And they interviewed me. They interviewed Hannah Rosen, who was she wrote an article in The Atlantic called The End of Men, which was like fucking a decade prior to that. And then they interviewed Dr. Warren Farrell in this as well. So they're, what's wrong with men? Like that, by the way, what we're talking about now is not new. This is 5 years from when I did this interview. And I met these guys, and I had to meet them at an airport hotel because I was just sort of flying in. They would say, okay, we can meet you there at this time. I did, and I ran a podcast. You can still see the podcast. It's still up on my channel. And I had guys call in, or they came in on StreamYard. And I kind of took a chance by doing this too, because I had no way of like previewing the calls or anything, but to you guys' credit, I had these guys come on and they were just giving me testimony after testimony about like how the red pill had saved their lives. Like in some cases, literally, like they were going to commit, self-deletion, and they didn't. And so I had the guys come in, and it was just like testimonial. And I had so many people that I had to like and I had to kill the stream after a while, because they were like behind me and they were recording the whole thing at the same time. And when I was doing the podcast, and I was like overwhelmed by the response for it, because people wanted to call in and people wanted to say thank you for helping me out, right? And it was like sort of giving people an opportunity to say thank you. And I never really thought to do that because I didn't want to like pat myself on the back or gloss myself or anything like that. But these guys requested that; they wanted me to do that, so I did. And so what I would like to do this at some future date is do something similar to that, because I think what happens is like the red pill gets a real bad rap right now from dumbasses like this, right? And I don't mean Mary, I mean like guys who want to just build a hate brand. And what are you going to say when you've got all these guys coming in saying it improved my relationship, my wife will have sex with me again, my children have a father because I read your book, because I was going to kill myself and now I'm not going to do that, right? What about those guys? I've got a post called The Safety Net, which has over 1,100 testimonials in the comment section there, and I think they're still growing even today. It's one of my most trafficked blog posts. But it was just guys who just wanted to give their experience, talk about their experience. Right? I get guys from Reignite all the time saying, "Dude, I'm so glad you're doing this, because I was in a really bad spot, and now I'm a different person as a result of it." I know this person. I'll shout him out. Harold, one of my students, I guess, for lack of a better term, was a very good friend now, right? But like Harold was he was a hard luck. He'll admit it. He was a hard luck case. He was tough for him, but now he's out of the divorce. He's back on his feet. He's doing much better with women. He's got better style. He's still learning to raise his voice when he needs to. But I mean, there's still stuff to work on with. But like, what do you say to guys like that? What do you say to guys who've improved their life as a result of this? You're hearing 2 incidents or 3 incidents on this one article written by what is her name? Daisy Schofield for Refinery 29, who I've never even heard of this aggregate blog before. Like, and she's relating these stories of other people with names redacted. I won't do that. I'm Raul Tomasi. Hi, what do you want to know? I'll be happy to tell you that. Be happy to tell you, other guys' experience. Hell, they'll be happy to tell you too. What do you have to say to those? See, the thing is that shit doesn't go viral on YouTube. That shit never makes it up in the algorithm. You never see that in your impressions when you're scrolling through. Oh, so we suggest this video. You don't see those. So I think it's important to put those things into perspective. Let me catch up here. A woman's necessity is okay. I got to that one. Sir, Mr. Jason, isn't Aaron Clarey posed to be right in books like this? Writing book post, and he posed to be right. I don't know. I hope so. Watched a little football. Now it's Rolo time. Yeah. There you go. Which football game are you watching? I've been kicking ass in my fantasy league. Rolo, when improving, I've noticed other guys, both know and unknown, tend to pass negative comments or attack me. Is that normal when you're improving? Yeah, it always is, because people don't want to. It's intrasexual competition is what it is. That's the basis of it. Oh God, Coral is just texting me some. What do you want, Coral? Oh God. Okay, I won't repeat that. Where is this? Passive dread is preventive medicine. Dude's got it wrong. It's not an overt threat. Thank you. We're going to put a bookmark in that one too. She cut him off and he did not accidentally find the red pill. That's most likely, I was going to say, that's probably the most likely scenario. As I said before, especially when it comes to like Christian guys, because I remember, and this was as far back as like 2013, 2014, was it Pastor Doug Wilson, some of these other guys, I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but at one point, and I don't know when this happened, but it was like in the mid to 2010, maybe 2012, I think, pastors started looking around their churches and they're going, where are all the dudes? They're like, where the fuck did all the guys go? Because they look across, it's just this congregation, nothing but women, right? And then they went looking and they found them all in the red pill and they found them all in the manosphere. And the reason why they found them there is because the church has become, and I don't care what church you're talking about, the church has become actively hostile to anything conventionally masculine. That's why. They're like, there's nothing, especially if you're unchurched. If you're an unchurched guy, it's one thing if you came up in the church and you go, I was raised this way, but it seems this is bullshit. It's not for me. I'm going to go off and try to find my own answers. And I found the manosphere. That's a much rarer case than guys who were never church and they found the manosphere. And these are the guys that they want to have an outreach for. And so what do? They start turning their men's ministry into sort of an outreach into the manosphere and into the red pill. And that's where you get guys who are like, well, I really like what Andrew Tate was saying about work out and be in control of your finances and be a leader in the home and da da da. It's like that's just standard issue Christianese bullshit. It's the only thing that you guys can latch on to because you don't want to talk about the fact that, well, he's in all likelihood going to be going to jail for human trafficking. Maybe some grape charges. Possibly, certainly tax evasion. That's already gone through. Creating shelf companies, if you know, and not shelf companies. And of course, to say nothing about his foreign exchange scams. And to say nothing about the fact that he's probably been laundering money for the Romanian mafia. We don't talk about those things, but we really think he's got a great message when it comes to like lifting weights and being on your game kind of thing, being the top G. Okay? That you can get behind, that but nothing else. Right? That's the only thing that aligns with their values. So yeah, and then now it's like now Tate's a liability. So now PBD throws him under the bus, and now the Christian network of guys who were doing their manosphere ministry suddenly throw him under the bus because now he's a liability, and really it's the red pill is really the Old Testament, whatever. And now we're getting back to be a servant leader, be your wife's indentured servant because the Lord wants you to be. Fuck that. Is woke ideology, LGBTQ pronouns the result of women entering law, media, politics, college education? Is it going to get worse in the future? Yes, and yes. That's the easiest, quickest answer I can give you for your 5 British pounds. Anything that is woke ideology is feminine. Is feminine at the root of it. There's nothing masculine about woke. When you look at the studies done, I think it was done by Quillette. I'm just trying to, if memory serves. Men tend to be more interested in things. Women tend to be more interested in people. Women are more focused on what is quote unquote morally right, and men are more focused on what is empirically true. So you're looking at the difference between what? Emotionalism and rationalism or empiricism, right? So yes, if it's LGBTQ, if it's pronouns, if it's this, all these things you really don't like, yeah, they're the reason why those become law and those become like you can't misgender somebody, right? You go to jail. Well, the reason is because there's a law on the book that says you can't do, at least in Canada anyways, that you can't do those things, most likely initiated, and passed into law by women. Because everybody deserves respect. Remember we talked about the differences in respect? Women's respect is worthless and meaningless, and it's like everybody gets a little bit respect. Common courtesy is respect. For men, respect is merited. What makes you respectable? It's your burden of performance. It's on a hierarchy, not in the round. So when you get upset about pronouns and you get upset about LGBTQ and this and woke that and free speech this and all this other horse shit, no kings, whatever the fuck it is. That's entirely that's the feminine psyche trying to organize society. And sometimes shit gets passed into law. That's what happens. So yes, you are correct in that sense. Is it going to get worse in the future? Can it get worse? It will if you don't do something about it. Red pill in Poland have at least 150 years. Okay. Started by Polish novel writer whose son done self-cancellation because of rejection. He wrote a book of misalliance between noble lady and rich merchant. The book is called A Doll. Okay, thank you for that. A Doll. Really want me to read that book bad, don't you? Okay, let's get back to it. Here. Where'd she go? Put her back up. All right.
Consider in that equation. It's not always that simple.
And how he was learning to perceive the idea of leading as something that wasn't even valued in their relationship to begin with, because neither of them possessed the personality. If anything, she probably had the personality of the leader of the relationship more than he did.
So
I'm going to be a bigot here, but I just got to be honest. The understanding or undercurrent of male leadership exists in all male-female relationships, whether we acknowledge it or not.
Sure.
Like, women look to men for leadership, even if they're the most feminist woman in the world who would never acknowledge that.
Well, this lady didn't. She's like, I'm out of here.
In this story, I believe it's possible we're only hearing her side,
Yes.
and he actually was making, very normal measures to improve his life, his health, and he was also changing his views on relationships
I'm just
as
picturing,
they got
like,
older. She's probably just framing it as this like villain arc that in reality it wasn't.
And after a breakup, who doesn't do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she's in a tough spot.
She's like talking, and he's just like, can I just want to bring something up. And he pulls out a book that says The Case for Patriarchy. He's like, I just wanted to read you something really quick.
Yeah, he thought that was going to go over well.
He covers the title so she can't see what it says.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he just hides the P in patriarchy. It's actually the case for matriarchy. So this next example is more telling, I think, of something where he's going down a rabbit hole and actually losing touch with the reality. So this girl who goes by Anna in the story says they started dating when she had moved to a different city for a work placement, and they were in regular contact and planned to be together when she returned back to where they both lived. After moving, she recalls having a conversation with him, with Josh, it puts him as Josh, about Andrew Tate, where she was deriding Tate's views. Josh told Anna that while he didn't agree with what most of Andrew Tate says, he had good points. This alarmed her.
See, that's the thing that gets me all the time. I was like, good points. What the fuck are those good points? Can we please define what those points are? That's the thing that kills me. Is you mention the red pill, and everybody thinks that they at least should have some sort of common frame of reference. Okay, fine. Whenever they say those red pill guys say this all the time, nobody ever is specific about things. And even if they say Andrew Tate and they say good, what are the points? What do you agree with and what do you not agree with? What do you even think his points are? Right? Oh, yeah, well, women are property, right? Well, I don't agree with that. Okay, well, fine. What other point? I don't there's always this, he's the boogeyman. And if there is no boogeyman, no one gets paid. He's the guy that everybody gets paid off of because they can just misquote him and say he's the face of the manosphere. Andrew Tate is not the face of the manosphere. In fact, he has openly said, fuck those guys. Fuck the red pill. Those red pill dweebs. Those red pill dorks. Still using that term today, right? me and Ryan used to get called dweebs all the time, because because Rollo
Tomassi don't get no hoes, man.
Because Rollo Tomassi doesn't have any receipts, but now apparently I do because I've been married for close to 30 years now, and I guess that's a bigger receipt now, right? This isn't a flex. This is a flex, right? Dan Bilzerian's not a flex. Rollo Tomassi is because he's been married for 30 years. I'm not a flex, and neither is Dan for all I care. They just do. We live different lifestyles. That's all. I still very much like the same things that Dan Bilzerian does. I mean, there's within reason, but yeah, sure. And I'm sure Dan Bilzerian would say, I would love to have a wife and kids and have a more regular lifestyle or something like that. Great. I'm sure there's parts of my lifestyle that he probably would like to enjoy and experience as well. It's just different choices. That's all it comes down to. But it's like when you're saying, well, he has some good points. What the fuck are the points, man? Can we at least focus on what those things are? Because you're never going to get to that. You're never going to solve this problem.
Suspected that he was taking Andrew Tate more seriously than he was letting on. And a few weeks later, she says, almost out of nowhere, he started ignoring her calls. Eventually, he suggested that they stop speaking until she moved back to their town. She said she was heartbroken. He started up contact again with her within the month, and things went back to normal for a while. And then that only lasted a short time before he cut contact with her again, completely without warning.
Mercurial.
The second time this happened, she decided to call him out on it, and he responded by admitting that he was deploying what he called a dread game, which...
Okay, we're going to come back to that in just a second. Put me back up there. Okay, so we're going to talk about dread here in just a moment, okay? It's also known as competition anxiety. You can also talk. Now, here's the thing. You guys remember that? I could go dig it up, but do you remember that video where Andrew Huberman was talking to Chris Williamson? And Andrew Huberman said something to the effect of, oh yeah, when you take a woman to like 3 different locations at a date, it's more memorable and you're going to create a more lasting emotional impression association. And when Andrew Huberman says that, it's like, oh, that's brilliant. Such a great idea. Oh yeah, you're right. It's such a healthy way to start a relationship. And then what comes out of Chris Williamson's mouth? Oh yeah, that's very similar to what those red pill guys used to say, and they would weaponize that back in the day, right? Move to different venues, move to different locations, right? So when Mystery says it, it's weaponization and it's manipulation. When Andrew Huberman says it, it's a great scientific fucking fact. And we're all clear and it's all kosher to go ahead and take a woman to 3 different locations during a date, right? That's healthy. But if you're a PUA, it's not healthy. So what I'm pointing out here is the quality of the information, or the clarity, the truth of the information versus the person that is delivering that information. Okay. So we're talking about dread game in this sense. If I say to you, dread is actually, for lack of a better term, dread is actually a good thing, because what happens is it creates a sense of appreciation in that person. This dumb fuck who thinks that it's a game to play. It's like, oh, I'm not talking to you because I'm deploying. What are you playing, 40K? Like I'm deploying a psyop. It's like this manipulative mind fuck. And you're going to be my guinea pig. I'm going to see if it works on you. Right? That's really what he's saying is overt game. If you are telling the girl that you are using dread on, and that's as if you're using it. I don't think men should necessarily attempt or try to use dread, because that's overt dread. That's direct, right? I've said this before. There's 2 different types of dread. There is overt dread and there's covert dread, or passive dread, if that sounds a little better. Overt dread is this: do this, bitch, or I'm out. It's an ultimatum. It's, well, if you don't want to fuck me, I'm going to go down to the local bar, and there's lots of girls down there who do want to fuck me. So you better start fucking me, or else those other girls are going to get a shot at this dick. The milking farm. That's overt dread. That's overt dread is you directly telling that woman, this is your choices. This is your ultimatum, right? Then there's passive dread. What is passive dread? Passive dread is third party dread. Okay. I use this all the time. I don't use it, but it's just sort of like in play. It's like an algorithm, or it's like a subroutine running in the background all the time. How do I use passive dread? Well, I'm me. I just do what I do. I go and do Access Vegas. I go to the gym. I go and I do this show. I'm friends with people like Kyle. I have a lot of friends. I'm very social. I have social proof, and I have pre-selection. Whether or not you're in the picture at all, that is going to stay a subroutine, and that's going to be the frame and the environment. If you're coming to you want to get to know me and you want to be a part of my life, you want to be a part of my frame, this is the game. This is the frame. This is the world you're entering into. As I said before, a high-value male. What's the definition of a high-value male, Rolo? The man that other men want to be and other women want to fuck. Emphasis on the other women want to fuck when it comes to dread. Okay. It's when her girlfriends say, girl, if you don't want him, I sure as fuck do. You got a great, if there is some kind of pre-selection or some kind of third-party endorsement of the value of that man that is being expressed to that woman, however, it's flirtations, it's coming directly from someone else. It might be social proof. It might be pre-selection, just sort of like from it's like a third party. It's unsolicited pre-selection. That is dread. That is something you cannot help. And so when we're talking about Mary, I don't know that, again, I'm not harping on her or trying to attack any of these people. I just want to explain this, okay? What this dumbass is doing is using direct dread because he's stupid and he doesn't know any better, right? A lot of guys, when they come into the red pill, they are not ready for the red pill. How many times have I said this? Like, was in the Matrix, we don't unplug a mind after a certain age because the mind can't accept it. That's exactly what this is about. I once had this conversation with Dr. Sean Smith, and I think it was like after the second time I was at the 21 convention, and he was expressing some concern about telling guys about making them red pill aware, right? And a lot of guys are really stuck, especially guys who are autistic or on the spectrum, right? Even if minorly so. You could still be a healthy, mentally healthy individual, and it's still really tough to accept a lot of the awareness of men's nature and women's nature. Again, I'm not saying it's a religion and you have to convert to red pillism, because it's not. All I'm saying is that sometimes the information and the data sets and the facts that are related by the red pill are very hard to accept. And especially if your lifestyle and your religion and your understanding of the opposite sex and your understanding of family, your values have been influenced by inaccurate information from what we call the blue pill, right? From your acculturation, from your socialization, from pop culture, from social media, from, because you remember, who you are is not, no man is an island, right? You are the sum total of all these influences that sort of have directed your way of thinking or conditioned you over the course of time, right? That's why we say it's really kind of the Disney-fication of understanding like men and women, right? We think of it as stupid, like sort of Sesame Street bullshit, right? Carry her books or be nice to the girl. All these things that we think are self-evident, and then we suddenly find out that they really want to fuck the Minotaur in the milking farm, right? That's the difference. When you got a woman who's like, I want somebody nice and sweet and loves me for who I am and doesn't care if I'm a little bit overweight and I just want to have babies and and who loves the Lord and is a godly man of God or whatever the fuck it is, right? And then that woman is the same woman who reads Morning Glory Milking Farm or wants to see the next the sequel to 50 Shades of Grey. That's the same person, the same woman. And you go, well, what do you want? Are you Morning Glory Milking Farm slut, or are you the godly? Are you Rachel? Are you waiting at the city gates to help your husband, sell milk or whatever? You help him in his finances, whatever it is. Are you what the Corinthians 31 girl, right? Whatever it is, I don't know what they're calling it now. Well, the answer is both. But the thing is like when you got guys who aren't ready to accept that, it's like what I say, giving children dynamite. For some, like this guy who's talking about, I'm deploying dread game. Guess what? Stick of dynamite. He's not ready for it. He can't. It's like, I put it this way. It's like, if I can give you the keys to that Lamborghini over there, and I say, okay, these are the keys to the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini tops out at what? 300 miles an hour? 280 at least, right? It tops out at a very high speed, okay? Just because I gave you the keys to that car does not mean you can drive that car. Not to its fullest potential, that's for damn sure, without crashing or the very high risk of crashing and burning. I can give you the keys to the keys to the helicopter. You don't know how to fly it. You got a helicopter, but you don't know how to fly it. As I said, and so that's why when I was talking to Dr. Sean Smith, he says, do you think some of these guys are all these guys ready for the red pill? And I said, no, of course not. Because a lot of these guys are going, remember we were talking about the red pills like fire? These are the guys that are going to set themselves on fire and set their houses on fire and set their relationships on fire because they're not ready for the responsibilities or they're not ready to process what red pill awareness means to them and how they can best leverage it and advantage it to themselves. What do they do instead? They deploy red pill or the dread game. Well, that's what you said to do. That's what Myron said. That's what Tate said. It's not what they're saying. Not at all. Especially not if they are. Let me know, because I'll tell you right now, the best form of dread is passive dread. And by the way, passive dread, something women use all the fucking time. So, anyways, let's get back to it.
Is a red pill dating strategy involving uncertainty as a way to increase their perceived value in the eyes of the romantic partner.
Dude,
the female.
This is all right, man.
All right, hold on a second. You know what I'm going to do? I got to go get this. Hold on a second. Hopefully this will come up. Whenever I'm streaming from am I still plugged in? There we go. Okay. In the 16 Commandments of Poon, which is if there's at least it's one of the 3 R's of the manosphere. Royce, this is Royce's. This is number 2. The second commandment of Poon. Okay, make her jealous. This is number 2. Flirt with other women in front of her. Do not dissuade other women from flirting with you. Women will never admit this, but jealousy excites them. The thought of you turning on another woman will arouse her sexually. No girl wants a man that no other woman wants. The partner who harnesses the gale storm of jealousy controls the direction of the relationship. That's the root of this. Not fucking Tate, not fucking Pearl, not Myra, not even me. This is Royce circa 2010. Now I was writing about dread at the same time, but still, this straight out of Royce. This is it's the second commandment, for fuck's sake, right? So that's really the basis of dread is really jealousy. And as Mystery has said on a million times over, it's like a woman cannot invest in you emotionally. She cannot fall in love with a man until she feels jealousy for that guy, because there has to be some sort of investment into that guy. It can be as early on as the first time you meet that girl. Or it might never come. You might be married to that woman and she'll never feel jealousy for you because she thinks that she can do better than you. So when a guy uses it, suddenly it's manipulative. So when a pickup artist uses it, it's weaponized. But if Andrew Huberman were to tell you the same thing about how jealousy can be a force multiplier in a relationship, they'd be like, oh yeah, we love some Andrew Huberman. It all depends on where it's coming from. It's the same fucking thing, same fucking fact. It's just coming from a different source. So, there to go.
And yeah, she said, I told him that dread game doesn't work. He responded that it worked on his ex. It was your ex, so I don't think it worked. But I was absolutely disgusted. I told him that his tricks had ruined things with me and I was no longer interested. So there you go. Dread game doesn't work.
Yeah. And this is why
Dread game absolutely works. It doesn't work like that. Because that's not even it. Okay. It doesn't work when you are over. It doesn't work when you give up the game. You broke character. And did this just fly by everybody else in here? This is a long distance relationship. That's exactly what she's talking about. This is a long distance relationship. Let me see if I can go read that part. Let's see. Joss. Was that guy's name? Kelsey isn't the only person whose relationship has fallen apart after her partner started to show interest in the red pill, a growing subculture that challenges feminist narratives and emphasizes traditional gender roles. That's not what it's about, and it's been around for ages. trying to find that one where she was reading this just a minute ago. Oh, I hate this one too. It's like, okay, for Anna, age 26, from the UK, there were early signs that her ex, Josh, might be susceptible. He didn't get the vax. It's a virus. He's susceptible to the red pill. No. Beliefs. Okay, so we're already casting it in an ideology. There you go. Because we have to. The only way you can fight an ideology is with another ideology. Remember what I said about like emotionalism versus empiricism. Empiricism versus empiricism, you can compare facts. Well, we think that this is true. Okay, I have some counterfacts that might make that non-true or might reinforce your fact. You can have that and we can find out what is true. Empiricism and empiricism. Then you have emotionalism and emotionalism. I feel this way. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I feel this way. And so how can we come to a consensus about how we're going to feel about these things? And what's the good way to feel and what's the bad way to feel, right? And which one will make us feel better, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Empiricism and then emotionalism talk past each other because they don't share a common language. Okay. So emotionalism, beliefs, ideology, religion, spirituality, positive juju, the magic 8-ball, all of those exist in the realm of emotionalism. Okay. In empiricism, you've got science, you've got mathematics, you've got logistics, you've got pragmatism, you've got rationality on that side. And they tend, because if you're going to talk about feelings and I'm going to talk about facts, and the predominant way of understanding our world is feels before reals, then emotionalism is always going to take precedent over empiricism, right? And as I said before, the language of empiricism is always going to sound like hate, misogyny, patriarchy, whatever, to the language of emotionalism. So how does but the problem is like, if I have facts and they're irrefutable facts and those facts make you feel bad, all the emotionalism in the world is not going to make those facts change. Like Gad Saad said, fuck your feelings, right? Well, the reason he says that is because the empiricism, mathematics, the real fucking world, nuts and bolts, binary ones and zeros, doesn't care about how you feel about the ones and zeros. Okay, I got a better idea. We're going to do an emotional reframe and we're going to turn those facts into a belief. Now, those things that I disagree with are a religion. Now you're a bad person, bad Rolo for making me feel bad with you. There must be something wrong with you, Rolo. Who hurt you? What do you think that? Well, because only a hurt person would think the way that you do, because you made us feel bad by telling us that, some unflattering truth about women's nature or men's nature, right? It made us feel really bad. We got a bad taste in our mouth. Well, who hurt? We need an intervention. we need to figure out what's wrong with you. Well, why would you need to figure out something's wrong with me? Because I'm just giving you the facts. Well, no normal person would think the way that you do. But I'm not crazy. Institutionalized. You're the one that's crazy. I'll probably get a strike for that. He was singing in suicidal tendencies. He didn't have much luck with women, though. Throughout most of his 20s, I think years of frustration. What's frustration? A feeling, emotion, with not getting what he wanted from women eventually led him to form negative opinions of women. Either that or it's exposure to empirical facts about women that he's coming to conclusions as to what are the best practices for him. Okay? It's easy to see how Josh's negative opinion of women, we don't know that, resulting from romantic rejection could be are you a clinical psychologist? You've diagnosed this, okay? To an extreme in certain online spaces. In the manosphere, pseudoscientific theories are often used to blame women for men's feelings of sexual or romantic rejection. Or it could be that they're just simple facts and they're trying to process those facts. For example, the 80-20 rule refers to the pseudoscientific theory that 80% of women are only attracted to the top 20% of men. No. Fuck you, and fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you. I'm out. For the love of Christ in heaven almighty, this is not the 80-20 rule, you dumb cunt. This is not it. Okay. That is in no way it. Okay. The 80% of women are only attracted to, no, 100% of women are attracted to the top 4.5% of men. Well, where do you get the 80-20 then, Raw? Okay, here we go. Once again, 80% of women, by the way, according to Dr. David Buss and his research, everybody drink, his research, and go read Men Behaving Badly, go read Why Women Have Sex, go read, what is it? I forget the other one that he did. Is it not Sex at Dawn? Something else. Hey, go read anything, or certainly Men Behaving Badly, right? His most recent book, because that's where this stat comes from. Women think that, well, determine that 80% of men are unattractive. That's it. That is done. That does not mean that 20% of men are attractive. No, it just means that they're not unattractive. 80% of men are effectively invisible to 100% to most women. Okay? That's the 80-20 rule. I know it's really hard to fucking wrap your head around. 80% of men, invisible. They're the guys who are not getting laid no matter fucking what. Okay? 20% of guys are the maybe he'll do. If he can show some value added, if he has some other redeeming qualities, if he makes a lot of money, if he's funny, if he, tickles my cooter the right way. I don't know, whatever it is. He has a 12-inch cock. 20% of men are maybe. 4.5% of men are the Justin Wallers, Jason Momoas, Alan Richsons. I'm trying to think who else. The Michael B. Jordans, right? That's the werewolf. What's that kid's name from Twilight?
Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner. Taylor Lautner. He's definitely in the 4.5%. Okay. Werewolf boy, Shark boy. Shark boy is in the fucking 4.5 percentile. Those are the guys that women will actively make an effort to make a connection with because they're so hot that they want to fuck those guys. That's what we're talking about. Stop corrupting this fucking dynamic with your bullshit. I see this over and over again. Yes, it was in adolescence. Fucked it up there too. I did the same fucking breakdown. It is 80% of men are unattractive. Not 80% of women want to fuck 20% of guys. That's not it. Stop it. Stop. Seek help. Get help. Fuck them kids. God, that's why I had to. Oh, okay, here it was. This is it. A few weeks later, almost out of nowhere, Josh starts ignoring Anna's calls. Eventually, he suggested that they stop. Okay, wait a minute. I got to back up a little bit. Okay, Josh and Anna started dating just before Anna was due to move to a different city for work placement. Okay, they exchanged I love yous and planned to be together on her return. Okay, so Anna was due to move to a different city for a work placement. Now we're doing the long distance thing. Okay, long distance relationships never fucking work. They are not relationships. They do not qualify. They do not make all the criteria for relationships. If you're in a long distance relationship, you have an invisible friend. You do not have a relationship. Okay. They exchanged I love yous and planned to be together on her return after moving. Anna recalls having a conversation with Josh about Andrew Tate over text where she was deriding Tate's idiotic views. Funny, that didn't make it into your description there, Mary. Josh told Anna that while he didn't agree with most of what Tate has to say, he had some good points. This alarmed Anna. I suspected that he was taking Andrew Tate more seriously than he was letting on. A few weeks later, almost out of nowhere, Josh starts ignoring Anna's calls. Eventually, he suggested that they stop speaking until she moved back. I was completely heartbroken, she says. He started up contact again within the month, and things went back to normal for a while with them exchanging messages every day, but this only lasted a short while before Josh cut contact again. So this is his lame attempt at quote-unquote dread game. Dread game, like, first of all, dread game is much better in a passive sense. It's not active sense let's just say it's not optimal. Okay. The other thing is this: you're in a long distance relationship. Dread game is not going to fucking work in a long distance relationship. There's nothing. Your absence makes the heart grow fonder. No, not in this case. She's in another fucking state. Okay. Now, the other problem I have with this now, then this is, I'm getting back to Mary's show here. The bigger problem I have with this is, why did he feel the need to do Dread game in the first place? Like, why would that be a thing? Because most of the time, I'm going to just, like, this has been my experience. I've been doing this for 22, some 23 years now. Most guys, when they want to, like, they'll ask me, Rolo, how do you do Dread? You know, what's Dread all about? Hell, fucking, Ryan Stone has a book on fucking Dread, right? Go read Ryan Stone's book called Dread. Maybe read that before you start mouthing off about how Dread doesn't work. No, it does. It just doesn't work for this dumb fuck, because he's already in a long distance relationship, and that's why it's not going to work for him. Right? You got to be around. Like, it's also what's known as, like, in pickup artists parlance, it's not Dread, it's a push pull. And that's right there when you're in the moment. That's when you're doing approaches. A push pull is like it's a very Pavlovian. It's operant conditioning is what it is. It's reward and removal of the reward, not punishment. There's a difference. Okay. It's positive reinforcement and then negative reinforcement, taking away the reward. Okay. Or I should say, punishment is taking away the reward. So what it is it's giving that woman little, it's called breadcrumbing, right? Giving her a little bit, giving her a little bit, then back up. Go open another set, right? And see what happens. See if she follows. It's a compliance test is really what it is. And that's in the shortest of short term, meaning like you met that girl that fucking night. Because what it is it's a test, it's a compliance test, but it's also a gauge of interest. So if that girl is not interested in you in the first place and she doesn't follow, then she's not into you. You're not wasting time. She's not wasting her time. Guess what? Dread worked, and it worked for both of you. It's a positive thing for both of you, because if that guy is going out there and he's creating a connection with that woman, if there is a connection with that woman, and then he pulls back and he goes off to be with his friends for time, it's like a push pull. You know, he takes off and goes to something else, and maybe he comes back later or whatever. If she doesn't follow him, then there's no investment there. And guess what? You both aren't wasting your time anymore. I don't see how that in any way is anything less than pragmatic. You're also, as I said before, you're helping her out and you're helping yourself out. We're just not wasting each other's time anymore. Can that be a thing? No, it can't, because you're a pickup artist and you're weaponizing it. If Andrew Huberman told you the same thing, you would see the light and go, oh, man, you're right, man. That's very pragmatic. At least they're not wasting each other's time anymore, and we can move on to bigger and better things. That's where the basis of it, of Dread, or the concept of it came from, was push-pull or takeaway. They're called takeaways back then. I wish I had Mystery here so I could talk to him about that, because I asked Mystery about this too. I said, do you think jealousy is still an optimal, or it's something that's leverageable? Mm-hmm. Now, I look at jealousy in terms of like a woman can't fall in love with you until she feels jealousy for you.
It's an indicator,
because there's value that's invested, right? Yeah. Like, I don't want other bitches to have this guy. That's what it boils down to. He is so high value, and I know that other women want to get with him and other men want to be with him. And I'm feeling jealousy right now because he's high value and I have an emotional investment in him already. And so therefore you can't really feel love for that person unless you can feel jealousy for that person. Same, it works for men too. I shouldn't just point it out to women, right? That's where I was trying to get with Mystery. And Mystery's like, nah, it's basically, you find some chick, and like, if she doesn't feel jealousy because you're talking to another chick at the same venue, then she's not into you. And basically all it was just testing interest levels. That's all it was. He just breaks it down to like, it's very reductionist for pickup artists, but it's functionally the same thing. It plays on the same dynamic, the same human dynamic of jealousy. So that's really what Dread is about, but it's never going to work for this guy. Because this guy is in a long distance relationship, which was his first failing right there. So by not talking to, the other thing is why would he do that? Like, why is she not calling him anyways? Why is she not the one why does he have to be the one that initiates? That's the other thing that gets me is like, I think it was Dr. Taraban. One of the things, I'll give him credit where it's due. Dr. Taraban brought up this idea of like the adorer and the adoree. And generally in a relationship, it's usually the woman who's the adoree and the man who's the adorer, right? He's the one who's, oh baby, I love you. He's always trying to be the pitch man. Yeah. But when is flipped around. When the woman is more into the guy, that's when they go, oh, he's manipulating you. He's a narcissist. He's just this side of a psychopath. No, I'm really into him. I think he's hot and I think he's a high value guy. Like, why can't that be a thing? It always has to be like a woman always has to be more valuable than the woman. Why? Or than the man? Why? Why can't it be the other way around? That's the question that Dredd asks, right? So why would he feel like he would need to ghost her? Why would he feel like he would need to deploy Dredd game, right? Is it because we don't get the other side? We don't get any other side of the story where she, like, perhaps she was just being like non-communicative, right? Maybe she was fucking some other guy in the new stuff in the other town, because they're split up now. Maybe he was right. And that's what I'll finish this out here, but I think that's really sort of the operative in all of this is, what if the guy's right? What if the guy's like, yeah, I went to go look for answers. I found Andrew Tate and Rollo Tomasi and Myron Gaines and everybody else, right? Okay. What if he dodged a bullet? Then we don't know now. Maybe we'll know later. Maybe we do know now. But the thing is you're never going to hear that side of the story because these guys make more money and make more fucking clicks. And I'm not saying Mary does, but I'm saying like the people who are writing these articles, or that nameless fuck who wants to debate me on whatever, wants to build a brand off of anti-red pill stuff. Well, all you got to do is it's hip. It's cool to be anti-red pill right now because so many people are using the red, like even Matt Walsh. I caught fucking Matt Walsh in his bullshit lies last week about James Sexton. Bald face right in your... So why would he need to do that? Because either his production staff doesn't know any better, or he got fucking amnesia and didn't remember that he had already talked to Jim Sexton, which I don't think happened. I think he knows. But if he tries to do a new video where he's like, I don't know who this guy is, that gets more clicks than him saying, oh yeah, I did a show with this guy. I want to sort of review this again. He can't, because the hotness is to shit on the red pill. That's why. Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate's not the red pill. Pearl Davis is not the red pill. Myron Gaines, not totally the red pill. Even me. Like I definitely am a red pill proponent, right? There's no getting around that. But I'm not the be all end all of the red pill. I hope I'm not. I hope people who come after me, after I'm dead in the ground, I hope somebody comes up and picks up the flag and carries on. Right? And I think it will. I think somebody will. So people, I've had this guy say these haters in the fucking chat. They're like, how does it feel to get eclipsed by Michael 13? I'm like, I can't think of anybody who'd be a better successor to what I do, quite honestly. I think he'd be great. Here, please take this fucking crown. I'm done. I'm done with this crown. You can see how far you can get with this, you know?
Obviously, I take issue with a lot of the red pill stuff. They take issue with tradcons. There are certain incompatibilities there. There are certain things they say and do that are good. Like when they're emphasizing self-improvement, getting your life together, being a leader. I think that's awesome.
All these ambiguous, undefinable, subjective, relative bullshit terms. Get his head, be a leader. Tradcons say be a leader. Fuck, even losers, even incels will tell you to be a fucking leader. Who's not going to say that, man? See, that's the whole thing is like, oh yeah, well, I agree with some of these guys, what they say. The stuff that aligns with my fucking belief, my values, belief set.
When it comes to the weird manipulation tactics, like you should only message her at this rate at these times. Like, dude, every relationship and interaction is different. And also, if you have to get...
No, there's consistencies in relationships. It's called human nature. And that's really a lot of what has to do with, well, I guess a red pill, but it's also understanding that, being able to leverage that. I wonder what he would say if I showed him that Andrew Huberman thing with Chris Williamson. Okay, who's right? The saying the same thing, bro. Mr. Beard guy. They're saying the same thing. Who's right? Who's wrong? Is it manipulative fuckery, or is it just Andrew Huberman and what's the Huberman Lab? Is that what it is? Like, you tell me, man. Which one makes you feel better?
it that like petty and measured with your interactions, there's something emasculating about that as well. It's bizarre.
Right. That they talk about like having main.
I can tell you what's even more emasculating is committing your life to somebody who is duplicitous, in getting married to a woman who you thought was going to be a great fuck for a long time and decides that she doesn't want to have sex with you anymore. Right? Or you get involved with somebody and you get attached to that person and they become somebody like you. Do you not think that women pull the same bullshit that men do? But we don't call it manipulative fuckery. We call it a woman being a woman. It's her prerogative. She can change her mind. Right? But when a guy does it, then it's weaponized. When a guy does it, it's fuckery. And I should point this out is like that's really, it's a dynamic called the women are wonderful dynamic. Like there's nothing that women, like men and women can do exactly the same thing. It's more acceptable for a woman to do it than it is for a man to do it. Because if a woman in any way is being attacked, then the man suffers more than the woman. So if we've got, and this is like, you can apply this to divorce law, you can apply this to marriage, you can apply this to sex within a marriage, sex outside of marriage. There's a double standard. There are more double standards for men than there are for women. And that's just the way it's going to be for a while. I got to get to some of these. Thank you. Oh my God. Let's get to that now. Can I get a PP? I don't have it on this one. I have PP's not on this system. It's on my home system. I would give it to you. The conversation, not the article. No, you're not thinking. You're on red pill. Normal people don't act that way. I go, I just want to get a Pepsi, please. All I want is a Pepsi. And she wouldn't give it to me. All I want is a Pepsi. And she wouldn't give it to me. God, that was a great fucking song too. There's so many songs I want to use on this podcast, and I'm denied. People go, Rolo, how come you always use that one your theme song all the time? I'm like, because I own it. No, I don't have to pay anybody for it. Or what is it? I've had people talk about like the theme song for Access Vegas, which is our outro for this show, right? I'll go, you always use that. Why don't you use like some EDM or, Deadmau5? Because Deadmau5 would fucking hit me up for royalties and fucking residuals. That's why.
He wants it all.
No, when Giovanni Sanders says, "Here, I give you this song," I'm like, "Thank you, thank you, please, can I have more?" Yeah. That's why we use that song. That's why it's just this. That's why all our songs are original. Every intro music I have is all original. Grandpa Nick Swolo, you did F&F with Tate a few years back. Was he cool when you met him back then? Yes and no. The thing is like I have kind of like a non-aggression pact with with the Tates. And I got into that because Justin Waller used to be part of the War Room. Sterling Cooper used to be part of the War Room. Myron Gaines and them, they for the longest time, everybody had a very close personal relationship with the Tates. I don't know the particulars of that. I never was a part of the War Room. Both me, it was funny, is both me and Rich Cooper got invited to be part. It wasn't called the War Room back then. It was something else. It's like some sort of meetup, but he asked me and Rich to be a part of it. And we were just like, we had a bad taste in our mouth from like the 21 convention and Anthony Johnson. And so we were like, no, that's not for us. And we just didn't want to get involved. And I'm kind of glad we didn't, because I would rather keep the Tates at arm's distance. Were they cool? I mean, he's cool enough. I don't really have a relationship with the guy. I mean, I've texted him. I texted him before the Dr. Phil show to find out if he would go on Dr. Phil. And that was the longest conversation I think I've ever had with him, was just texting him about that stuff. And that was before he got arrested. So, and then that, by the way, that was before all of the Romanian mafia guys got picked up for racketeering all the casinos that Andrew Tate says he owns or has a part ownership in. If you want to know why, like I've said, I've did full episodes on this. I can't talk too much about it because of the moment I do is the minute I get flagged by the algorithm. But people kept asking me, Rolo, what happened to all those interviews with Tate that you had? I've been interviewing. I've known Tate since 2017. I have been doing interviews and interacting with the Tates since at least 2017, 2018. I was before Myron. That was before Justin. That was before Sterling. That was before any of this bullshit, right? People don't know about his Forex scams. People still don't. Like, why don't you guys look at what has been doing in the past, right? They don't. Was it the GameStop and AMC theaters?
Yeah, that is.
What's it called? The Shortstop or something like that, or
I'm trying to remember the name, but I know what you're talking
there's
about.
actually a term for it. Whatever. There's a Netflix special on that, a documentary about how they basically crowdsourced like buying up or holding GameStop and AMC theaters to fuck with remember that's why
funds.
the hedge funds, because Robinhood like basically suspended all trades because of that. And it was just a collective of guys who got together and said, fuck, they played by the rules. They played by the rules and they got fucked for it. One person who features heavily in that, Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate was part of that. And I think Andrew took a lot of his knowledge. Short squeeze. That's what it was called. Was short squeeze? Is that what it's called? Sam says it's the short squeeze. Whatever. Because it was GameStop. Short stop. Stop short. Squeeze stop. But I think a lot of the crowdsourcing stuff, because I think what Andrew Tate did, it was his genius, by the way, too. What Andrew Tate did with the YouTube algorithm was exactly what they did to GameStop and AMC theaters. All he did was crowdsource everything. He played by the rules. He just put together a club, basically a membership. You get the membership, and then from that you get to license my exclusive content. And so what he did was he created just these little sub channels that weren't him. They were like people who were members of his collective. They went and posted it, and if somebody's channel went down, it didn't matter because there was 100 other guys that had doing the same thing, and he becomes a household name overnight, is making money hand over fist because he's basically profiting from these guys. They're making money too because they're making ad revenue as a result of this. But because there's so many of them doing it, they get pushed up in the algorithm and they get pushed up in the impressions, which is exactly what was going on. What's exactly how they crowdsourced the GameStop AMC theaters thing. So he learned his lesson and applied that lesson to his own brand. And that's why when it was in August of 2022, and I said he's a genius because he gamed the YouTube algorithm successfully. That's why he got canceled by big tech. He lost his PayPal. He lost his YouTube. He lost his Twitter. He lost all, and they all within the same like 3 or 4 day period in August. I remember because I was in Lake Tahoe with Justin when that went down, and they were losing their shit, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's because he figured out how to game the system, and he didn't break any rules. He didn't break any laws. He didn't like hack the system. Mm-mm. He just got enough people to rebroadcast his shit. Yep. And now you can't do that anymore. Damn. Rolo, what's your thoughts on Helen Andrews? Yes, recent essay, The Great Feminization. I watched her on various YouTube shows. I have too. The conservative think tank one. It was kind of it wasn't TPUSA. It was something else. She has some interesting opinions. She has. I think a lot of the stuff she's. Remember what I said about like if I say it, I'm a misogynist fuck. If she says it, it's genius. And a lot of the stuff where when I'm talking about how women organize society in the round and men organize society in hierarchies, she's basically saying the same thing. Or how wokeism, whatever you want to call it, sort of neoliberal, progressivist thought, belief, ideology, LGBT, pronouns, this, all that stuff, can only exist in a gynocentric social order. And she even talks about gynocentrism in there. And so everybody thinks it's groundbreaking and novel. It's like, this is nothing that I haven't been talking about, or even MRAs have been talking about since 2010. But when a woman says it, it has more weight to it than if me or Paul Elam or whoever else is, Dean Esme, whoever it is, says exactly the same thing. As I said before, it's not the information, it's who's the fucking source. If it's Andrew Huberman, then it has weight. If it's Rollo Tomassi, it's weaponized and it's manipulative. It's the same fucking thing. But thank you for that. Actually, you get one of those. I was actually thinking about doing a full like show dedicated to Helen, but what am I going to say that hasn't already been said? Come on, man. You didn't know Ace Frehley died. Ace Frehley died like last week. Yes. People are like, I've just now figured that out. Helen Andrews said crazy women caused wokeness. No, it's not crazy women. It's feminized society. It's the female psyche caused wokeness. Or caused. It's just the logical progression of how women organize society. It's not that they're crazy. They're crazy like anybody else is crazy. It's just how women organize society. The only reason why why it's an issue right now is, it's destroying society. It's degeneration and like feminism destroyed marriage. No, technology destroyed marriage. Feminism is just a byproduct. Feminism's been around forever. It just took the ball and ran with it. That's all. It's hormonal birth control that fucked everything up. It's hormonal birth control that destroyed marriage. You want me to prove it to you? I can show you the divorce rates from 1965 and the rise in hormonal birth control at 1965, and they almost look exactly the same. You want to know why we have no fault divorce, or we got it in California? Because so many divorces entered the system during that time that Ronald Reagan, governor of California, said, shit, we need to fast track these divorces, man. That's how you got no fault divorce, and all these other, and pretty much damn near every state in the union followed suit. Big bucks in divorce, huge amount of money in marriage. It's the marriage divorce machine. Ask Jim Sexton. Ask Jim Sexton how much what's his annual income? What is Jim Sexton's net worth? I want to know.
What's that hourly?
What is that hourly? All a direct relation to women's psyches. Adore and adored is just hypergamy, nothing new. Yeah, but you'll say that until you meet a guy who is the adored, right? Which is rare, very rare. To meet a woman who is like just like so into her man. Honestly, I think it's like exceptionally rare these days. Is 32 too young to join Reignite? You can be 15 and join Reignite. There is no age limit on Reignite. Can't fly to veg. Vegas. That's okay. You can join Reignite. I don't care how old you are. Let's see. Kiyosaki's not technically in Reignite, but he is 78, 79 years old, and I would accept him into Reignite. And if you're 15, a sophomore in high school, you can be in Reignite too. Yes, it's not difficult. All right, let's go back to Mary and let her finish here real quick, because I got one more thing to do. Where'd she go? Oh, that's right.
Maintaining frame or losing frame. I mean, if you're that fixated on farming attention from women, you're losing frame. Like, that's not masculine.
And these types of relationship salesmen.
See, I think one of the things that like one sort of like normies don't get this. Okay, normies don't understand that like well, first of all, they couldn't tell you what frame is. It's money, muscles, and game. It's just like the confluence of all of those things. It's the sum total of all of those things. Okay. But what they think of it, I think frame is some sort of manipulation. Everything's a manipulation tactic.
It's an active thing that you're doing.
Frame isn't even a red pill thing. It's a psychological, sociological thing, right? That like pickup artists picked up on the term, but it doesn't come from the red pill. It comes from psychology. And by the way, frame can be the frame of your family. If you have an overbearing father or overbearing mother, guess whose frame you're in? Children understand frame like automatically. If the child relies on mommy or daddy for food, electricity, warmth, water, the toilets, whatever, their basic needs in life, they're in mom and dad's frame. That's all it is, right? It's the world you have that you want. If you're in control of your own frame, that's the world into which that other person enters into. You're in my frame right now. If you're watching this show right now, welcome to my frame. You get to watch me for a while. You've watched me for the last 3 hours, and you've been enraptured by my sexy, sultry, milking cow voice. But God, don't buy that book, please. No, somebody's gonna send me that fucking book, man. They're gonna buy it. Hey, send this to Rolo in Las Vegas.
It's the hardback, at least.
The hardback, yes, signed by the author.
It's leather.
In gold paint. Yeah. Well, frame is frame, man, and it's not a tactic. Frame is ambient, right? It's just he has frame, you have frame, I have frame, everybody has frame. It depends on like who wants to be in your frame. If you are in the military, you are most definitely in someone else's frame. If you work for somebody 9 to 5, from the time you walk in and punch that clock and the time you punch out, you are in your boss's fucking frame. For as long as you're profitable to him, you're going to do what he says, and his goals are your goals. Why is that such a stretch for interpersonal relationships? Why is that so hard to understand? Now, if you're focusing on frame all the time, there's something wrong with you. Well, the frame is the sum total of money, muscles, and game, which is directly related to your burden of performance. So in that sense, yeah, you're probably right. Are you like
So in turn, women getting ready for a man is not their own frame.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. What are you putting makeup on for?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, exactly. Why'd you get a boob job? Yeah. Are you so concerned with holding your own frame with women that you'd go and get fucking implants out to here with 2,600 cc? That's a lot. 1,200 cc.
Yeah. Well, hot air balloons over here.
Yes. Is that why? Like no one says that. Thank you. No one says that. Well, you're putting on makeup. It looks like you want people. Are you so concerned with frame that you do that to your face? That's all it is. Yeah, like there's nothing emasculating about it. You know what's emasculating about it is you draw attention to it. If I didn't say that, like the people, like the guys who have the best frame, the guys who hold frame like rock solid frame, are the guys. It's just zen. It's passive. Just like I said, it's an atmospheric thing. It's like it's a subroutine that's running in the back, right? They're not concerned. Like your frame is a completely wrong terminology for what she's talking about here. But just the reason I'm bringing this up, because there's a whole dedicated. See how many pages. Burden of performance is like the first section here. Frame is the second section. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chapters just dedicated to frame. This is the new book by Rollo Tomasi. It is called Reignite, and you should buy it on Amazon right now. Want to learn about frame? Mary, would you like a signed copy? I'll send you. Give me a shipping address. I'll send you this very copy. I'll give you the printer's galley copy if you'd like. Right? Want to learn about frame? Want to learn about burden of performance? There you go. 80-20 rule in the book. Yes. Santa Maria. Okay. So thank you for that. It's unspoken language, right? You don't, like, guys with the most tight frame don't have to say shit about it. It just is what it is. And that's why people I don't understand why I'm so attracted to this guy.
The confidence, the swagger,
that's his frame. Right? And you know what? He's just as concerned about it as you are putting on makeup before the show. All right, let's keep going.
And have always existed, the pickup artists, the ones who have kind of existed to try and push for the whims of guys who maybe didn't have good male role models in their lives.
It's like the relationship coach that approached me.
What would be a good male role model? This guy. What would be like? That's the thing that gets me is like
subjective.
Well, remember when me and Mike we're doing the CBS thing, the CBS documentary, and we found out that the guy who was the dude who was teaching the guys in their sort of like sewing circle, masculinity group, the guy's flaming homosexual, right? Is that a good male role model? I don't think so, but apparently everybody at CBS, they left it out of the fucking documentary, and the guy wasn't dressed like super flamboyantly like you'll go to his Instagram. He's not hard to find, That's how did you find out he was gay? Roll went to his Instagram.
It's singing.
Yes, it's they tripped my gay radar from the word go. If you didn't do it to you, I don't know what to tell you. But is that positive? They didn't have these these great masculine role models. Who would be a good one? Name one. And why? Why would that person be good? Why are they, what attributes about themselves? What characteristics do they embody? What characteristics are they teaching? Tell me what you think that is. Then we can have a conversation. then you can say, well, this is because what you're saying is when you say this person who embodies these characteristics and these attributes and this stuff, and he's, putting this stuff out there, whatever he's teaching, or he's even just exemplifying it just by his life. If you're going to tell me these are so those are the positive things. Let's look, what are those things? And who's teaching them and who's not teaching those? Right? It's always, well, these guys don't have any direction because I never had really good positive male role model. Well, what would be a good one? Who? They're long on rhetoric and short on real fucking answers. And you know why they are is because the moment they start talking about those characteristics is when we get into the red pill. And that's when we get to factual bases. And that's when we get to statistics. And that's when we get to all this hard data. Because I will tell you right now, I can show, like, there's so many guys in that de-Christian lifestyle who want to say, oh, I want to be a good servant leader for my wife. And basically you're a fucking suck up. You're a simp for your wife. But there's so many people that will say, oh, you're a great male role model. No, you're not. In fact, you're teaching the opposite to your kid. You just think you are because you got a Bible in your hand while you're doing it. So to me, that's actually counterproductive. But tell me what you think that is. Like, I love it when people say, well, we want to teach men positive values instead of this red pill misogyny. Okay, what are those positive values? Well, no, I don't. Tell me what the fuck they are. Because once you start getting out of the realm of ambiguity and you get into hard, concrete things, that's when your shit falls apart. Because it's emotion, it's the language of emotionalism to say, oh, we need to teach guys better, good values. Then it's the language of empiricism when I come and fuck things up and go, well, what are those? Tell me what those consist of. Tell me what that should be. Leadership. Okay, well, leadership means that there's got to be subordinates. Who's going to be that guy's subordinate? His wife? Are you going to call your wife your subordinate? Should she defer to your authority just because you have the penis? Because that woman won't. I'll tell you right now, you have that conversation with a woman, most women won't. It doesn't matter what, your fucking, whether you're a male or female. It doesn't matter what your dick size is. It matters what your bank account is. Wealth enforces will. You want to know what is the number one precipitator of divorce in Western societies? The woman starts making more money than the man because that challenges his authority. You don't get to tell me what to do. You don't make any fucking money. You know why? Because you're treating a marriage not as a marriage. You're treating it as a business proposition, as a contract. That's why women break that contract 70% of the time, because they can, and they can profit from that. I wish we could just say that point fucking blank. Like, why can we not say, well, it's probably men's fault that women feel forced to file 70% of the divorces? How about this? How about the more obvious answer is that there's more leverage, there's more to gain for women for initiating those divorces, whether it's heterosexual or lesbian couples, to initiate those divorces. Why can we just, why is the more obvious answer not the go-to? The one we avoid, because women are wonderful. We can't relate any unflattering facts.
Who told me that he's in an open marriage. And I was like, bro, you obviously don't have any grounds to offer advice to single guys about dating. You're not in a relationship. And he was like, you're judging me and you don't know anything about my life, man. Like, you came up to me.
He's still wrong. Yeah, exactly. Who cares if it? I know that you're a married man who's propositioning an unmarried woman. So,
yeah.
But I want to mention something because someone in the.
How about me? Do I get to tell people? Can I give advice to young men? I've been married for 30 years. I'm not in an open relationship. Can I? You want to know where Tate gets his material? You want to know where Myron and the rest of these guys get their material? You want to know where Pearl steals everything and just basically parrots it back verbatim? Why not go to the source? Why not just fucking talk?
You can only give advice on marriage. You can't give advice on solo life.
Yeah.
Man, relative, don't get no hoes, man.
Yeah, you can't.
Sorry. What are your receipts?
It's the only way.
Yeah. Can I give you some advice? Can I be the one to tell you that this entire article is bullshit?
Chat said, the red pill just gives descriptions and doesn't give advice. Listen, I disagree with the red pill on a number of things. As said, I don't want to misrepresent them. I think it might be possible there's a distinction between like the pickup artist community and the red pill community, even though they're both in the manosphere.
Right.
So I'm using the term very generically, but maybe you're right. And so if that's the case, I apologize. My point is just that I think that in relationships, the way to be masculine is to be direct.
Nope.
And not to be manipulative.
Right,
And
and
that's
not
I
play
thought that was
games.
something everybody knew, right?
So that's what you do is you don't tell her you're reading the Case for Patriarchy.
Okay, that's good enough. Let me get out of that one. Okay, so we're going to talk about the be direct thing here. Actually, let's just talk about that real quick. So the thing about frame is this, is always, this is Iron Rule of Tomasi number 1, and there's a reason it's number 1. Frame is everything. Always control the frame, but don't give the impression that you are controlling the frame. You want to know why Mary Blondie, she's a cutie too. Why Mary gets all bent out of shape because a guy might actually be trying to control frame? Because guys who are fakes try to control frame. That's basically what this guy, to be masculine, you got to be direct. Remember when we talk, I don't know if you remember this, but whenever I bring up Alan Roger Curry, God rest his soul. Alan Roger Curry is a big mode 1, right? A big proponent of direct game. And if you are anything but 100% above board direct, are you down to fuck? No? Next. I'm moving on to the next one. Do you think that guy, that directness is going to help or hinder your approach? Now, will that directness also be so? Like, there's 2 ways to win a war. Okay, as I said before, 2 ways, and this is out of 33 Strategies of War. I'll give credit where it's due, from Robert Greene. 2 ways to win a war. One is attrition. It's you throw bodies at the bodies, and whoever has the most amount of bodies wins the war. Right? You throw enough fucking gunfire at the wall, and you bash down the wall. That's all it is. Blunt force trauma. It's just whoever's got the most gets it, right? Whoever can afford to lose the most things wins the fucking war. That's a war of attrition. Then there's a war of strategy, which is, how can I outmaneuver this guy? How can I outthink my opponent? Am I smarter than this guy? How do I do feints? How do I do end arounds? How do I do flanking maneuvers? How do I do, is this going to work in this terrain? It's Sun Tzu, right? It's the art of war, right? What's funny is the same people who love direct game and all this stuff like that, they also happen to love art of war too. And it's like, or stoicism with Marcus Aurelius. It's like, okay, well, pick one. You're either Genghis Khan and you throw a shit ton of bodies at the wall, or you've got some sort of strategy going for you. And that's the difference between sort of premeditated game and just direct game. And in some cases, direct game does work, but in more cases, strategy works. Problem is you never want to give away the strategy. A magician does not tell you how he does the trick. That's why Dread Game guy fucked up. He's the magician who showed, well, here's the trick. The trick is I'm using Dread Game.
Before it even worked.
Before anything happened, right? Before she's trying to figure it out. The guy's an idiot. And that's another thing is too many idiots get a hold of, they're children with dynamite. Too many idiots get the red pill and they go, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do ghosting. I'm going to do Dread Game. I'm going to do, it's funny. It's never, I'm going to use a Muse Master. Right? It's never, I'm going to use Agree and Amplify.
It's always the most.
Yeah, it's always the dumb fucks. It's always the dumbest shit. Because why? Because it's easier to understand the war of attrition. It's easier to, okay, I got a hammer. What's that? Show me the nail. That's all it is, right? If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Easier to go to strategize, right?
But if I gave you a screwdriver, or I gave you a scalpel, or I gave you something, you better figure out some way to use that fucking thing, right? And that's the point of direct versus indirect. So and this comes to a greater concept, which Beard Guy alluded to. Okay, and I'm not saying he's wrong here. I get it. I understand what he's saying, but there's this innate understanding that if you aren't anything but 100% forthcoming, if you are not 100% full disclosure, full full direct. You just tell them what you feel like. Tell them what, like that fucking doesn't work. It's like when women say, "Oh, I want you to be vulnerable and tell me about, tell me your problems." The minute you do, gone. Oh, how come men don't talk about their feelings? We do. No one cared. That's just it. We tried to be direct. No one cared. What about dread game this? Well, you know what works best? Not the direct dread game, which is what this guy did, where it's like, bitch, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to use dread game on you and you're out of here. That's direct. The guy was above board. He 100% said the truth, didn't he? He said, hey, I'm using dread game on you. If that guy was employing passive dread, which is indirect, covert, strategy, not attrition, if that guy was using that kind of dread, third party, passive dread, and it worked for them, well, you wouldn't even have the conversation because it'd be working and no one would know because your strategy works. And you know what? The more you employ that strategy, the more it becomes part of your personality. And the more it works for you and the better off you are as a result of that. Again, people kept saying, Rollo, I would never want to be Rollo Tomasi because he used to game his wife all the time. No, I don't, because I am the game. So if I use passive dread, I don't use passive dread. I don't use any dread on my wife. Is dread ambient in there? Sure, probably in measured doses. But I'm not like trying to use it because it's just part of what I am. It's part of like doing the shows that I do, doing the things that I do, writing the books that I do, talking to the people that I do. It builds my value up. And from that value comes jealousy. From that value comes a even if it's just 5%. A risk of loss. I don't want to lose I love him and I'm jealous of these other bitches. My wife has told me this before. Like I told her one time, I said, do you trust me? Like with these chicks? I was just fucking with her one time. She goes, I trust you 95%. I'm like, good, I can work with 5%. That's all it took, right? I can work with that 5. Yeah. Because my wife basically trusts me implicitly with and I have been at some pretty interesting places, especially in Miami, Vegas, Okay. So, but my wife trusts me implicitly, except for 5%, which is good because in that 5%, that's where passive dread is. And that's where I better suck his dick before he leaves the house. I better have sex with him before he gets on the plane and flies down to Vegas, right? I better, and the thing is that's not even a cognitive thought. It's not like she's going, I think I better fuck him before he goes. That doesn't take place. It's just she does. Yep. And I do. And that's not manipulation and that's not forethought, like malice and forethought. That's not forethought. It's what my personality is, what her personality is. And is there a latent purpose to it? Yes, it is. I want his balls drained before he flies out to Miami. Oh, I'm down. Let's go. But that's the point. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not based on like insecurity. It's just who we are. Right. And I'm probably in a much more unique position than a lot of guys are. And that's not to gloss myself. I just want to say, I understand the frame of reference. Like a lot of guys who are in relationships, who are in marriages, don't have the opportunity to stoke pre-selection, especially after they're married, right? Or social proof. They don't have those opportunities are few and far between. So unless you can like play into those and lean into those situations when they arise, that's one way to do it. The other way is the bonehead way of doing it and trying to manufacture it yourself. And that is why direct game sucks. That's why the direct approach is never one that's going to be, it shouldn't be your go-to approach. Because people think that, to be a man is to be direct, to be real masculinity, real men say what they mean and they mean what they say. Right. And I wish it worked that way.
Right.
I so wish it worked that way. That's why we talk about like when because women communicate covertly and men tend to communicate overtly. So when you are doing something that's covert, when you're playing strategies and stuff like that, people call it game. That's why I call it game, right? It could be game playing, whatever. You're being manipulative. It's game playing. You're acting like a bitch. Why do they say you're acting like a bitch? Because that's what women do. Yeah. Like you literally are acting like a bitch. You're communicating like a bitch. But the reason why we call that out is because we don't want to be outplayed. The best way to expose a strategy is go, ha, you're using dread game. Ha, That's why you never expose that, because you're telling on yourself, right? How many times has Myron and Fresh talked about how women like bitches tell on themselves, right? You're telling on yourself too when you go, I'm using dread game, babe. But it's that we want to believe, like men want to believe that the direct way to life is the only real masculine way, because women need men to be that way. They don't want men to use testosterone. They don't want men to put lifts in their shoes to boost them up like an inch, right? They don't want men to wear beanies because they might be bald, right? They don't want men to, they certainly don't want older men to dress in certain ways because that might be some way that they could outperform that guy, right? They don't want a guy who's 57 years old to have biceps like these. They don't want, because you'll get outplayed. Because I have more resources, I have more clout, I have more gravitas, I have better social skills, I have better judge of character, I have better than you do, and I can go and steal your bitches, right? I'm not going to do that, but that's the presumption of a guy. That's why like younger guys hate older guys so much, is because there's always the possibility that their tribe's women are going to go to my tribe's men. It's very tribalistic. Tribalism can be generational as well as anything else. So, so how do you defeat that? How do you change that? You say that the only way to be a legitimate masculine man is to be 100% truthful, honest, and say what you mean and mean what you say. So, you shouldn't wear those lifts. You shouldn't dress like that. You shouldn't wear that beanie. You shouldn't have your glasses on because your eyes aren't that good, right? You shouldn't use TRT because your testosterone levels really aren't that high. You're cheating. You're cheating. So if I'm doing anything to increase, everybody does this. So I'm doing anything to increase my value on a sexual marketplace, even if I just give you the idea or the hint that I might be doing that, you're a bitch. That's bitch behavior. You're feminine. You're a mangina, because men don't care about what they look like, which is horseshit. They absolutely do. Men don't care about what other men think. No, they do. And you should you should compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to other guys. No, you should absolutely fucking compare yourself to other guys, because that gives you a basis of something like a metric by which you can compare your progress to. Absolutely, you should. And the thing is, you have no choice. You'll do that anyways. It's natural for human beings to compare themselves to other people. So this whole you shouldn't deadlift. I see you. There you go. You shouldn't deadlift. How dare you bench 225 at 57 years old, which I did on Wednesday. Yesterday was leg day, by the way, and I don't skip fucking leg day. Go. Fucking hate that shit. Dude, man, calves are hard to fucking build, man.
Yeah, it takes such
that
a
is
long time.
hard.
It's very genetic, but you can grow. It just takes a while.
Yeah. They have implants. They have implants.
They have implants, yeah.
Calf
It's
implants.
fucking crazy.
Okay, that might be bitch.
That's pretty bitch.
You need to go there and earn those things. But again, you know why? Is because men our respect is based on hierarchy. Our respect is, and that hierarchy is built on burden of performance, right? So if people see you at this level and they're like, oh, he only got to that level because he cheated, he used TRT or he used fucking Masteron, right?
You got soft hands, roll.
Yeah.
Hands.
Do you shower before work or after work? Did you take the vax or not? Yes, you cheated. Yeah. Well, that's the other things about the direct thing versus the indirect. You will always hear, and I'm not just harping on this guy because I'm sure he doesn't understand any more than like say somebody from like evangelical culture too, because they'll say the same thing. That you're not real unless you're 100% above board. And you know why that is, but that's not because of men. Well, it is because men want to compare themselves, but it's because women need to know that they're like the existential fear of women is to become pregnant by a guy who she thought was alpha, who later was really hot. Gotcha, bitch. You know,
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah.
They bet on the wrong horse.
They bet on the wrong horse. Because in our evolutionary past, even if a woman made a good choice, she could still die. And the guy could still die. Very uncertain, very chaotic times in our primeval past, right? But the thing is like the worst thing. You want to know why like Handmaid's Tale is? We were talking about this earlier. The Handmaid's Tale is so popular as a sort of a cultural phenomenon. Well, first of all, it's a female revenge fantasy. We already talked about that. But the other thing is that it plays on women's existential fear of being forced to have a baby with a man not of her choosing. So she's basically an incubator for men who she would not want to reproduce with. And so why is that? Why is that? Because I mean, we call that grape, right? Because it's a violation of her being able to choose with whom she gets to reproduce, who wants to commingle her genes with, right? And then, of course, in that case, being slaved to a lifetime of having to raise a child for which she didn't have any choice. That's why the first thing that women go to when we're talking about abortion, the first thing they go, well, what if I was raped? And I'd be forced to have this kid. That's a fate worse than death. I understand, like ladies that's a violation. You're violating my body or whatever. I get that. That's why Handmaid's Tale is so fucking popular, because it has that sort of like visceral, what if this existed? What if these evil men were, I think they really are like this. Right? And the reason why that's so visceral to them is because they need to determine if a guy is really somebody who he is. And so how do you account for that? Well, you get other guys, you enlist other men and say, I want to know that you're a real guy, you're a stand-up dude, and you have honor and duty and integrity and respect, and you've done things that make you respectable. And what have you, like, that's why respectability and hierarchy is such a thing. If a guy is high on the hierarchy chain, the worst thing you can do is disqualify that guy. So like when you see a good-looking dude, you see a very good-looking dude, and you're in a group of guys, and you see this really good-looking dude, what's the first thing you say? Must be gay. He's probably a fag. You probably say something like that, right? Why? Because you want to disqualify that motherfucker from fucking all the bitches that you want to get with, right? So what's the best way? He's not interested in girls. He's interested in fucking guys, right? That's how you disqualify him. Same thing with women. When women are like together in a group and a girl walks in, she's in a red cocktail trouser, tits out to here, and high heels and everything else. Only a slut would wear something like that. You're disqualifying her from reproduction. You don't want to fuck her. Why don't I know? How come I don't want to fuck her? You don't really find that attractive, do you? Well, yeah, I do. Well, no real man would want to fuck this girl. So now I'm questioning your masculinity. But also, if a woman who looks like that is a quote unquote slut, then you don't know for sure the babies that come out of her are going to be your babies, right? Because she fucks everybody, right? So if you can say that's what a slut does, that's what a slut looks like, that's what a slut acts like, then you disqualify her. Women, they're really good at it. They disqualify women from the sexual marketplace. That's intrasexual competition. The way that most guys, mundane, average guys do that is they go, well, you've got to be direct. You're not a real man unless you tell the truth, full disclosure all the time. I've said this in the past. I've said, like, women don't want honesty. Or they say they want honesty, but they never want full disclosure. Because if you're the guy that, like, here's another reason why the guy's wrong. If you're the guy that goes on your first date and you're like, okay, I believe in honesty, full 100% full disclosure, and you go and you're at the restaurant table and you say, okay, here's what I'm about. I grew up here. My mom left me when I was 12 years old. I was raised in boarding school, and then this really fucked me up in life, and then I did this, and then I did that, and you just basically like spill your guts, your life, and guys will do this. They'll spill their life story on the fucking restaurant table, and then they'll wonder why they never got a second date. And the reason why is because there's no mystery left to you. Women want to figure you out. Don't deny women the enjoyment, the satisfaction of trying to figure out you with their feminine intuition. If there's no secrets, if there's no mystery left to you on the table, and you're 100% all above board, nobody wants, you've read the Cliff Notes of your life. Nobody wants to read that book. You're done. Who cares? Right? If you go, okay, well, I don't really like to talk about that, but this isn't this, the first thing she wants to do is, why don't you want to talk about that? Right? There's that intrigue that women need, because it's satisfying to their intuition to try to figure you out in the first place. If she doesn't have a mystery or a puzzle box to unlock, she just throws you away and looks for the next toy that is more intriguing than you are, because you were direct. You thought the best policy that a real man does is goes and just tells everything all 100% above board, and you're out, and you're out the door. Right?
you don't teach them.
Yeah. Swallow Tomasi don't get no 304s.
I'm like, man, Rolla Tomasi don't get no hoes, man.
What was it? HO3s? HO3s? Rollo, what other Substacks besides your own would you recommend? Coral Osborne's first. I'm paid subscriber of yours and Jack Napier's and regular Coral's. Okay, good. And Ryan's. Those would be my top ones. I subscribe to Rob Henderson, and I also subscribe to Steve Stewart Williams from Ape Who Understood the Universe. Those are top ones. So anyways, that's why you should not be direct. It's also why you should not be vulnerable, because that's part of that directness. Okay. And not because, you can be vulnerable. Vulnerability is only appreciated when it's very rare, when it's something that has to be drawn out of you. And that's why you don't go direct, because women value, or they hold in higher value the things that they had to dig out of you. Right. See if I can find that again. This is actually maybe this is the best way to do this. Where is it? Here we go. This is 16 Commandments of Poon. This is commandment number 1. Never say I love you first. Right? Never, again, don't be direct. Women want to feel like they have to overcome obstacles to win a man's heart. That's why you don't be direct. They crave the challenge of capturing the interest of a man who has other women competing for his attention and eventually prevailing over his grudging reluctance to award his committed exclusivity. That's why you don't be direct. The man who gives his emotional world away too easily robs women of the satisfaction of earning his love. That's why you don't be direct. Though you may be in love with her, don't say it before she has said it. Show compassionate restraint for her need to struggle towards her yin fulfillment. Inspire her to take the leap for you, and she'll return the favor 1,000-fold. Okay. That's why you don't be direct. Let her figure you out. Which one is this other one here? Oh, here we go. Don't play by her rules. This is why you don't be direct. If you allow a woman to, this is number 4. If you allow a woman to make the rules, she will resent you with a seething contempt even a rapist cannot inspire. The strongest woman and the most strident feminist wants to be led and to submit to a more powerful man. Polarity is the key, or the core, of a healthy, loving relationship. She does not want the prerogative to walk all over you with her capricious demands and her mercurial moods. Her emotions are a hurricane. Her soul is a saboteur. Think of yourself as a bulwark against her tempest. When she grasps for the pillar to steady herself against the whipping winds, or yearns for an authority figure to foil her worst instincts, it is you who has to be there, strong, solid, unshakable, and immovable. Oh God, this is the other great one. I don't think I've read this one before. Keep her guessing. This is number 6. True to their inscrutable natures, women ask questions they don't really want direct answers to. Woe be to the man who plays it straight. His fate is the suffering of the beta. Evade, tease, obfuscate. She thrives when she has to imagine what you're thinking about her, and withers when she knows exactly how you feel. A woman may want financial and family security, but she does not want passion security. In the same manner, when she has displeased you, punish swiftly. But when she has done right, reward slowly. Reward her good behavior intermittently and unpredictably, and she will never tire of working hard to please you. That is why you don't be direct. Got it? Good. Do I have your attention? Do I? Thought so. I would look good in a bikini.
What?
Oh God, these are great. Towards the end of the show, This is when the really good messages come up there. Okay, I'm good. All right, guys. Let's see. Do I have any announcements? Oh, coming up, we have Access Vegas. Oh, I have a big announcement. Access Vegas is coming up on Wednesday. That is our Halloween show. I'm going to require the girls to wear Halloween costumes, and you know the kind of girls we get on the show. So this should be pretty good. It should be a good show. Well, hopefully we don't have any costume malfunctions, or maybe. And then, so I also have my Reignite crew coming in on, let's see, it will be on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Wednesday, we'll be out riding quads. We're going to go out to the desert and ride quads, which I haven't done since Reno. And we got some class stuff to do. We got some, Q&As and stuff like that. I hate to call it a mastermind because that's kind of like funnel market speak, but it's a meetup and we're going to have some fun. We're going to do some dinner. And then if you are part of the Reignite, you can actually be in the studio audience for Access Vegas for the Halloween show. Then we will be at Tao Nightclub on Thursday night for the $5,000 costume contest. At Tao Nightclub in the Venetian. Yeah, it's in the Venetian. And that should be fun. And should I tell you guys what my costume is going to be? It's not going to be Ken. You guys won't even know it's me unless I say, okay, well, since you're watching this and it's the end of the show, I'll tell you. So I had that chick, Laura.
Okay.
I'm talking big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Big. Yeah. She wants to be Red Riding Hood. And she's like, Rollo, I need the wolf. So I have to be a werewolf. So I have this wolf mask that I bought. It's pretty scary too.
No wonder you're interested in Twilight.
I am. Yeah, I'm all about Twilight. Yeah, I'm Shark Boy. I couldn't pull off Shark Boy, but I can do werewolf. And I'm gonna wear my zoot suit. So I'm gonna be a pimp wolf for Red Riding Hood. It should be fun. And then on on Friday, then we have Halloween. And then I think we got some things that are going on Halloween. We're going to have a dinner and some other stuff that's going on too. There might be another costume contest. Mike is saying that there might be. Mike is in Cancun, although I think he's flying back now if he's not already back. Swimsuit USA was quite the experience. I watched it live yesterday. And it's really kind of an interesting pageant. I mean, not the least of which, because I know half the girls in it and they're but he'll be back soon. So that'll be in Wednesday. Will be Access Vegas. Now the big announcement, you heard it here first. So pay attention, everybody gather around. This is the big announcement. On November 5th, we will have Myron and Fresh will be here. We're going to do Access Vegas, although it's really more like Myron and Fresh. It's really more Fresh and Fit, but like it'll be out Access Vegas. And we also have Andrew Wilson. Ooh. And we have Jake Rattlesnake, who's his friend. I forget what Jake's real last name is. Jake Rattlesnake and Andrew Wilson, myself, Mike, Myron, and Fresh. And we're gonna do an Access Vegas. It's gonna be a crazy one. I just confirmed this yesterday. So that's coming up. We'll probably have to do it in the other studio because we just don't have room here. So that will be coming up at Origin Studio on November 5th. Put that on your calendar, children. We got Andrew Wilson and Jake Rattlesnake and Myron. And has Andrew been on Fresh and Fit yet?
I think yes.
Has he been on once or twice? I don't know.
I think twice already.
Does anybody in the chat know if Andrew Wilson has been on Fresh and Fit yet? Because I'm not aware of that. I was wondering if this was the first time that I was getting them together. That's why. Yes, once. Okay, so it's been on once. All right. Well, but they were never in Vegas. So anyway, so yeah. Okay, so I guess he has. So anyways, we'll be getting it. You wanted the Avengers. I got you the Avenger, the new Avengers, the West Coast Avengers. And yes, I know that there is a West Coast Avenger. So that's coming up on November 5th. We're going to get some girls. We got to get some very special girls in for this one because we got to get girls who can take one on the chin, literally. And so somebody said yes twice. Okay. All right. Good enough. So that's coming up. And then, as I mentioned before, sometime middle of January, we're going to have Jake Monroe is going to come in here, and I will be hosting Jake Monroe for probably that week. So that's coming up very soon. And with that said, Maya Sofield. No, Maya would probably not do it. Crystal Bex would definitely do it. Jessica Aaron, absolutely. She's already on the list. Already on that list, my friend. Come on. Avengers West Side. Yep, you got it. All right, guys, that's it. I will see you guys next week. I hope you guys got something out of this. And remember, the red pill's not what everybody thinks it is. All right, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
Would you do it again? I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time. Stop the cap. But I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. I came by to win. Over like a matchbox stereo. Time to get my thoughts now, let it go. Bound to keep me up all night. Where the Cheetos? But maybe we can fuck again. And maybe things we did for me. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. If maybe we can fuck again. Then maybe things we did for me. Goddamn, baby, one more again. You could have the best of my life.
Good day, sir.
Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up everywhere while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty? Ugh.
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stubbing with her hair. Like she's Claudia Kelly.
Oh, those guys are back.
Ride me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song, getting messy. Working up and down on your body. Run me up. Ride me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it. She's not a Christian. But maybe we can fuck again. And maybe things we did for me. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. If maybe we can fuck again. Then maybe things we did for me. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
This Sitting Podcast has been a production of the Rational Male. Registered trademark 2025. All rights reserved. And don't steal that Minotaur stuff.
No, you're wrong.
Well, I'm a whore.
Goddamn right.
Tell that bitch to be cool. Say, bitch, be